Good job. Fuck off.
Hey, who'd you vote? Hey, who'd you vote for? 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 Who'd you vote for, bud? Yeah, fuck you, you fucking Nazi piece of shit. Fuck you, you traitorous bitch. Fuck you, asshole. Fuck you. I am not doing anything wrong. I am not doing anything wrong. I am not doing anything wrong. You are violating my constitutional right. You are violating my constitutional right. You
Wow, it's awesome, isn't it? When stuff like this happens.
Hey, hand me your shit. Hand me your shit. First Amendment protester. You are violating my constitutional rights. He didn't fucking do anything. He just touched me. You guys went hands on, not him.
Oh, what's up, everybody? It's just classic, right? This is classic stuff, right? This is a guy who's been a dick to everybody running around constantly fucking with the National Guard and everything, trying to be a real ass. And, well, now it seems like maybe he's dealing with some stuff, you know? Maybe. Could be. Could be. What's up, everybody? Great to see you tonight. I'm having still having a couple technical difficulties here. For some reason, it doesn't seem like I'm getting through. What is happening? Is everything good? I see there. Let me do this. Pop out the chat. All right, here we go. Okay, good. All right. What's up? Let me do this. Hey, what's up, everybody? Great to see y'all tonight. Apologize about last night. There was some minor technical difficulties. What happened was I use it's like a 65-inch TV for my screen, and it started acting weird yesterday, like flickering and doing stuff. So I was like, oh, I got to get a new one. So I went and got like an actual monitor, an actual computer monitor. And I put it on my desk, and it was curved, and it wouldn't fit, and it was like I had no room for the camera, so I had to take it back, and then I got a new TV. That's all I did. So let's see who's here tonight. What's up? How's everybody doing? SB Farmer's here. First person come over to wave. That's right. How you doing? Great to see you. G Sharkman's here too. Snarf is here. Kevin's here. What's up, Kevin? How you doing? Everything's good. Doc's here. What's up? Michelle's here. Great to see you. Iowa Backyard. Cam. Missed everyone last night. Have a great night tonight. Hey, Serenity's here. What's up? Great to see you. Karen O's here too. Sharon Tyler's here too. Charvon's here. Terry's here. Delay is Obvious is here. Great to see you. Lisa's Day-Day's here. Good night, chat. Oh, okay. Cat is staring at me like he wants to bite me. Cats will do that. I shut the ads off. They should be off. Oh, everyone, no ads, low. Okay, Catherine K. Great to see you. Ank's here too. What's up? Yes, exercise your rights. That's right. Sunshine's here. How you doing? Great to see you. Audra's here. What's up, Audra? Great to see you. Happy Friday. Nix is here. What's up, Nixie? How you doing? Great to see you. Nick. Hey, Woodtick Mike's here. So is Nick Dev. Great to see you. Richard Parker's here. Sat down, look out. I didn't miss much. That's right. Oh, beautiful. Hi, Bella. Beautiful cat says hi, Bella. That's right. Rachel Boone says hi, Jim. Great to see you. Everyone's here. Good. So we're going to start the show. We got a bunch of news to talk about. The show's going to go for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, depending on whether or not we hit the goal. And the goal is, as it is every night, where we have for every $100 in total that comes in across all platforms, YouTube, Super Chats, Rumble Rants, also any gifted memberships on YouTube or Rumble, or becoming a member on YouTube or Rumble, along with there's this app called Ko-Fi that's pinned in the chat along with PayPal and Cash App. So once anything that comes in, I add it all up. When it hits 100, we add an hour to the show. And for every 100 that comes in, we add an extra hour. So the show could be 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours, 4.5 hours, 5.5 hours, 6, 7, 8. You get it. And then as an added bonus, when we hit 50, we activate the Bellavision. And there's Bella. She's just chilling. Oh, I got to fix her camera a little bit. And then once we, once we activate the Bellavision, it's for the whole evening. And then, so when 50 activates Bellavision, and until maybe if someone does an individual donation of $25 or greater, which could be like 5 gifted memberships or just a $25 super chat or PayPal or Cash App or things, then we activate Bellavision immediately for the evening at 25. So, all right, here we go. Good deal. Yeah. None of your business is here too. What's up, Nanya? How you doing? Great to see you. So that's that guy. We watched him the other night. He was running around giving the National Guard a ration of shit, as they say, and so he got arrested for following this guy, screaming at him, and the cops got him. So let's get into the first news story of the evening here. President Trump signs executive order reclassifying marijuana. Yeah, Bella is already. Yeah, she is. Yeah, Bella is already. Trump's been a busy boy today. Yeah, he's been busy. He always thought the farmers got all winter off. Yeah, well. Trump signs executive order reclassifying marijuana. President Trump on Thursday signed an executive order reclassifying marijuana from a Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3 drug, which if you don't know what that means exactly, I'll explain it the best that I understand it. Schedule 1 means it has no medical purposes at all, so they can't use it for any testing. They can't do it for any, like experiments on it. That really like limits what the government can do, what doctors can do and other people, researchers can do and stuff like that. So it's been like real shitty that it's been a Class 1 drug all this time. So making it a Class 3 drug makes it no different than pretty much any other prescription drug would be. Like, believe it or not, cocaine is a Schedule 3 drug. So is heroin. So just saying, because they do have medical uses. Marijuana can be legitimate in terms of medical application when carefully administered, Trump said in the Oval Office. Prescription painkillers have legitimate uses, but also can do damage. I promise to be the president of common sense, and that's exactly what I'm doing. President Trump emphasized that he's not legalizing marijuana for recreational use. I just want to emphasize that the order I'm about to sign is not legalization or does not legalize marijuana in any way, shape, or form, and in no way sanctions its use recreationally. It has nothing to do with that, which is, What is the drug alcohol scheduled as? It's not even on the schedule, I don't think. I don't think it is. It's not even, because it's not a controlled substance. So let's see here.
The Innovation Center models are going to allow millions of Americans on Medicare to become eligible to receive CBD as early as April of next year, and at no charge, if their doctors recommend them. Thanks to the hard work of the entire CMS team, especially Abe Sutton and Gita Dio at the Innovation Center, the accountable care organizations in this country working in Medicare will be able to provide these products, again, at no cost to patients. Medicare Advantage insurers, and we've been calling them, are also...
Okay, I'll explain this. Karen O says, why does federal law believe they have jurisdiction over marijuana when it's up to the states? Because they have the Commerce Clause, and anything that's sold by in interstate commerce, so marijuana does travel across state lines. So anything that's sold in interstate commerce or anything that could affect interstate commerce, the government has control over. That's why the government can regulate alcohol. That's why they can regulate tobacco. That's why they regulate firearms the way they do, is they claim it's the Commerce Clause. Now, I don't agree with that. I'm just telling you the reason. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. It's the same reason. What was it? When the government told a single farmer in, what the hell? The decision is, I can't remember the name, but there's a Supreme Court decision that actually said that allowed the government to tell a guy that he couldn't grow wheat for his own consumption because it would affect the dormant part of the Commerce Clause.
agreeing to consider CBD to be used for the 34 million Americans that they cover. If you can hear my voice and you're over 65, you should pay attention to this executive order because it's going to touch your life. Again, this all becomes active after the first quarter of next year. These CBD products must first meet local and state quality and safety standards. They must come from legitimate sources. And they must abide by other regulations of those states. With these boxes checked, patients can be eligible for up to $500 of hemp-derived products each year. This is the first government-led testing of quality and outcomes for patients across different conditions, and it delivers on the need for more data collection and research into hemp usage. CMS is going to collect data, that's our job, on the patients that are being given these products by their physicians. And in accordance with all the privacy and security regulations, we're going to analyze that data. We're going to make it publicly available to everybody to be able to analyze with us. If it shows promise, we will expand access to these products to even more conditions amongst Medicare and Medicaid beneficiaries. I want to thank not just the Secretary, but Marty McCary. We want a lot of companies who are doing this research that approach the FDA for formal approval. That is the right way to move forward. And Jay Bhattacharya, who's hiding in the back, He rarely hides, but Jay runs NIH, and he's agreed to support initiatives to study the data that we're collecting. Howard Kester, God bless you for being a pain in our sides.
Wicker B. Filbert.
Mr. President, he's promised to stop calling you.
I think the Commerce Secretary was Wicker, and then Filburn was the guy. So yeah, Wicker.
Except on this issue, we'll call you on other issues. And I thank you again from the bottom of my heart for taking a difficult stance.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Mr. President, members of the Cabinet, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and for your leadership in rescheduling cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. This decision will accelerate scientific research and expand what can responsibly be studied. I'm a cancer psychiatrist and medical cannabis researcher at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Over the past decade, federal investment in research has helped transform cancer care. People are living longer than ever before. But cancer care is not only about treating the tumor, it's also about addressing the anxiety, the fear, the stress that can come with a diagnosis, symptoms that can interfere with treatment and make recovery much more difficult. Many medications we use for acute anxiety carry significant risks, particularly in the older adults. That's why we're studying specific natural compounds found in cannabis, including the non-addictive cannabidiol, to understand whether they can safely and effectively help manage anxiety during cancer treatment. Rescheduling allows us to ask these questions rigorously about dosing, about safety, and who may benefit most. This research reflects the best of federal investment, helping people not only live longer, but live better. Thank you, Mr. President, for supporting careful, science-based research that puts patients first.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug. That's beautiful. Thank you.
I'll add my vote of thanks, Mr. President. I never really thought this day would come. I met a patient about 20 years ago, a retired professor named Elizabeth, who came to my clinic. She was dying of pancreatic cancer, and she asked me then whether cannabis might help her. And I said no, because that's what I learned in medical school. She reached into her briefcase, took out a 3-inch tall stack of articles, put them down on my desk, and said, "Really, doctor? You should read these. You might learn something." And I did read those articles, every single one, and found a bunch more. And I did learn something. I learned that there actually is some medical benefit to cannabis that I had not anticipated, never heard about in medical school. Second, I learned that there was a lot we don't know. And third, I learned it's really, really, really difficult to do high quality randomized controlled trials of a substance that's federally illegal. This rescheduling has the potential to change all of that and to rewrite the way that we do research related to cannabis in the United States in 3 ways. First of all, it'll democratize the research process so that all academic institutions can participate in research, not just elite academic medical centers. Number 2, it'll give patients and researchers access to highly refined, reliable sources of cannabis rather than relying on 1 or 2 sources around the country.
Well, that's good. Let's see. Oh, here's Bobby Kennedy.
Because we have not been able to do scientific studies. There is no standardized dosing. And if you don't have standardized dosing, any study that you do is comparing apples to pears. And we don't know the difference between botanicals and synthetics, and all of these questions we're now going to be able to answer. 5 administrations have promised to act on this issue. The Biden administration promised to do this, and the proposal began during the Biden administration. It got mired down in the chaos and inertia and disorganization of that. And I want to thank President Trump, who made the promise during the 2024 election that he was going to come in and solve this issue, that he was going to take decisive action, and he has kept that promise today. And so thank you for President Trump for your vision, and because of that,
You know, I think I hate that I'm that cynical too, Pesky, but I think there's some of that too. Government just needs more taxes to keep themselves afloat. I think that's why a lot of states have gone this route, is because it's just it's a serious tax. You're talking about, billions of dollars in tax revenue that have come into some states. It's a lot. It makes a big difference. They got to find a different way to get money. More people started. Less people are smoking cigarettes. That was a huge tax, thing for each state. Each state had their own taxes on cigarettes, and there's a federal tax also. So they're going to do the same thing with. It's a total tax loser. I don't know about that. How is it a total tax loser? I mean, if it's sold medically as a medical, as medicinal stuff, then yes, it's not going to be able to be taxed. But stuff that's sold in stores, stuff that's sold retail, will be taxed. Anything that's sold, anything for recreation, anything like this. If they decide that, oh, you don't need a prescription for CBDs, it can be sold over the counter, that stuff will be taxed. Increased medical costs, lower productivity. Oh, well, if maybe they could develop something that doesn't have that effect. Maybe they can take the good stuff that takes pain away, or that makes people less anxious, or maybe they could figure out a way to make it so that it doesn't make people lazy and have the munchies and all this. I don't know. But then again, the people that are on cancer, have a cancer, that are on chemo, stuff like that, the marijuana actually helps them eat. So I don't know. It does. It lowers testosterone, which is a problem because we already have an issue with testosterone getting lowered from all the chemicals in the food and different things, which that's my personal belief. They don't want to die. I think it might be microplastics. I don't know, but something is really what's up, Kilo? Great to see you. Awesome. And they're talking about a hemp product, exactly what CBD does. Yeah. Just outlaw pot and let the kids do alcohol. In a way, I think alcohol could be more harmful, but that would be if the pot. Some of this pot is so strong though, man, and there's been like some reporting about schizophrenia actually happening because of it. So sniffing glue, yeah, that'll work. Or huff paint, yeah, that's always not a good idea. Don't ever do that. Don't do that. Just say no to drugs. You got to be careful because this is going to probably get hit by YouTube for talking about drugs. They don't like it at all. They're real weird. Cheetos reportedly kills boners. Oh my God, that's horrible. I eat Cheetos all the time. CBD does not get you high. They are not talking about pot. I'm all for medical usage for real problems, but even there, I've seen people that just want to get high all day. They do no PT, etc. No. Last year, Washington State tax revenue from weed exceeded tax revenue for alcohol. I have my medical card for 4 years now. I can grow 15 plants at a time. Wow. I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, occasionally, I like to have a edible, gummy once in a while. I don't really like smoking pot anymore. I haven't smoked it in quite a long time. I, I just, but every once in a while, a little edible maybe here and there. It's not bad. Rumble only let me tight caps and comes out backwards. What the hell? I don't know. That is weird. Use CBD for pain. It does work. The THC fake gummies, I took one by accident. Hell no. I was high for 3 days from one. Thought I was dying. Oh my God. I saw how productive my burner friends were in high school. I'm not for this. I'm not well versed on it either, so I can be full of crap. Well, this bill is not about marijuana. No, it's reclassifying all that marijuana. It's taking it off of Schedule 3 and bringing it to Schedule 1 so they can test it, so they can do things with it. And they were forbidden from even like trying to separate molecules out of it. They couldn't even get it for testing purposes. So this allows them to start testing, is what it is. It's not legalizing anything. It's just allowing them to be able to test it. And by making it Schedule 1, if someone comes up to it, then technically, I think under Schedule 1, a doctor could prescribe it. It's reclassifying marijuana from Schedule 3 to Schedule 1. That's all this is, for testing, so that they could experiment. That's all this is. They're saying it does possibly have medical uses. That's all they're doing it. It's legal in Canada, and it's a disaster. In California, a pot RX is supposed to be required. In Florida, we have medical marijuana. You have to have a card and everything. Medical weed threatens the pills. Toto Payne Diaz. Well, they'll just get into that too. That's the thing too, is they can come up with synthetic marijuana, synthetic THC, synthetic CBD. That's what they're going to develop now. That's what's going to happen, believe it or not. They're going to have, because it's going to be way cheaper and easier to have chemicals put together to do the same thing instead of having to grow the plants and take care of them, make sure they don't get bugs, make sure they don't get sick. And, they have been saying possibility for years. Well, it's actually happening. Now the FDA has actually reclassified it because Trump told them to, because that's the power of the president. Can tell the FDA, do this. Yeah, Schedule 3 is medical use. Schedule 1 is no use. Yeah, that's all this is. Synthetic will make one sick. Synthetic already exists. Well, no, I'm saying, but now the scientists in America can actually do some testing. That's all. I don't know. I wanted to see if Trump was going to speak.
A lot of people need it, and thank you, Howard, for really opening a lot of eyes. Okay, we'll sign it. We'll take some questions from the press. You can ask the doctors some questions, and it's an honor to do this. Well, that's a good one. We like that. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Any questions, please?
Mr. President,
Yes.
a health-related question on your health care plan. You've said you want to make direct payments to Americans, but these Obamacare subsidies are expiring now in a matter of just a few days. More than 20 million Americans are now bracing for their premiums to skyrocket. Are you going to let this happen, or will you intervene?
Yeah, they will skyrocket because it was never any good. I'd like to see the money that is going to the insurance companies by the hundreds of billions of dollars. You know, their stocks are up 1,400%, 1,800%, and 1,624%. Their stocks are up through the roof over a fairly short period of time because they're getting vast amounts of money. I want that money to go to the people directly and let the people buy their own health care. And they'll get much better health care than they get with the Unaffordable Care Act, as it's known by a lot of people. It is virtually unaffordable for people. It's a bad thing. We can have a great thing. Let the money go directly to the people and let them buy their own health care.
But this is an urgent problem, Mr. President. Is there anything you can do now, Mr. President?
Can I answer, Mr.
This
President?
is going to be right now, as far as I'm concerned. Go ahead.
We just got data today. We have federal exchanges where people come shopping for the ACA. And the president hasn't heard this yet, but we've talked to the team. The percentage change from last year was down 2.7 to 2.8%. Not the massive numbers that have been predicted. And there's many possible reasons for this. But right now, Americans are signing up for these programs, despite all the things that have been going on. 2.8% is a tiny fraction of what many had claimed would happen. And I think it speaks to the fact the American people appreciate these ACA plans are already subsidized over 80%. So it's a good deal, even if you don't get the extra 15, 20%.
It's a great solution to much better health care at a much lower cost. Yeah, please.
But do you want Congress to extend these ACA subsidies?
Well, I'd like not to be able to do it. I'd like to get right into this, and I'd ask Oz this question in particular, but I'd like to see us get right into this. I don't know why we have to extend. This could be done rapidly if the Democrats would come along. We have a problem. The insurance companies own the Democrat Party. They own it. And the Democrats having a hard time. They give a lot of money to the Democrats. Very little money to Republicans, by the way. A lot of money to Democrats. And they're going to have to decide, do they want to do the right thing or do they want to be beholden to the, insurance companies? They're making a fortune. I want the money to go to the people. Go ahead, Oz. How would you say that?
I agree with the president. We have some ideas out there. Congress is working through some concepts. I just want to emphasize that the ACAs are not imploding based on the data we just received from the federal marketplace.
This can go very quickly, actually. Yes, please.
Mr. President, can I ask you clarify something for me on the Federal Reserve? How many people are you interviewing for the Fed?
Oh my God. Are we going to ask about this fucking thing they signed? Come on.
Doctors respond to it because they can do it a lot better than me, but I can only President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some GOP lawmakers have written to you in recent days saying they're concerned this executive order could normalize drug use for youth. How would you respond to them?
You're talking about this particular today? Well, I think I'd let one of the doctors respond to it because they can do it a lot better than me. But I can only tell you that when you see polls of 82% of the people want this, when I have friends that are really, really sick and they've gone through, I guess you could say, unfortunately, I don't want to become too involved in it because I don't want it happening. But these are people that really know what's going on. Very smart people. This is one of the most successful people in the country and a very brilliant guy. And when they go through this horrible ordeal of cancer or other things, and they realize that this is something that makes them feel better without all of the side effects of some of the drugs where you're just totally knocked out and out of it. But I'd like to have one of the doctors maybe respond because people do it better than anybody.
I'm happy to respond.
Yes.
I mean, and my answer is we have had cannabis scheduled for how long? And it hasn't protected neither the adolescents nor the adults. We have 20 million people in the United States with a cannabis use disorder. This is not legalizing it. It's making easier to do research so that we can use it when it is indicated and optimally.
So it's also a big part of this is research. In other words, you'll now have a much larger sample and you'll be able to see if it's as good as many people say it is. I mean, people say it is beyond good, and you'll be able to find that out now.
I don't know. They keep saying cannabis, so I don't know. People are saying it's hemp. They keep saying cannabis. So, full statement. Access to the best thing. So, chronic pain. Marijuana is currently controlled. So, it says marijuana is currently controlled under Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act. Schedule 3 drugs are classified. The recommendation includes the determination that medical marijuana has currently accepted medical use. So this is medical marijuana. It's not It's not. I'm sorry, C. Wilkie. It's not hemp. They're talking about cannabis, marijuana. So, cannabinoid is the thing inside the cannabis. This is the fucking paper right here. It says marijuana. Marijuana has been scheduled for 1. Recommendation that marijuana be rescheduled from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. They're talking about marijuana. Marijuana. In addition, marijuana is primarily made up of 2 cannabinoids, cannabinoidol and tetrahydra THC. Rescheduling medical marijuana and improving access to cannabinol products. So I don't know. It sounds like to me they're rescheduling. They're rescheduling it, and they're also doing something for hemp products. The second paragraph is what? Yeah, the second paragraph talks about they want to make hemp products more available. Not that has nothing to do with the fact that they are rescheduling marijuana from Schedule 3 to Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. That's You want to hear Mike Tyson talk about it? I don't know. President Trump signed an executive order on Thursday that could reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug and open up new avenues for medical research. The switch could move marijuana away from its current classification as a Schedule 1 alongside heroin and LSD. I didn't think heroin was Schedule 1. I thought heroin because it's a painkiller. Make it a Schedule 3 like ketamine and some steroids. Reclassification of the drug from the DEA would not make it legal for recreation use, but it could change how the drug is regulated and reduce the hefty tax burden on the industry. The Justice Department under Trump's predecessor, Joe Biden, proposed reclassifying marijuana to Schedule 3 substance. Well, Biden could have just ordered it. Such a switch typically requires an arduous process, including a public comment period. The DEA was still in a review process when Trump took office. Trump's orders expected to speed the process along, though it's not immediately clear how long it will take. Many states have legalized recreational use of marijuana for adults and allow it for medical purposes, but U.S. laws have remained stricter, potentially leaving people subject to federal prosecution. Polling from Gallup shows more Americans back a less restrictive approach. Support for marijuana legalization has grown significantly from 36% in 2005 to 68% last year. Trump's order also calls for expanded research and access to CBD, illegal and increased popular hemp-derived products. Okay, so yeah, he calls for expanded research into marijuana and then access to CBD, a legal and increasing popular hemp-derived product with benefits debated by experts. A new Medicare program will allow older adults to access hemp-derived CBD at no cost if a doctor recommends it. Okay. More than 20 Republican senators, several of them staunch allies, signed a letter urging the president to keep marijuana as a Schedule I drug. They're probably getting paid from the... the hell you say quickly. Yeah. Led by Senator Ted Budd, a group argued that marijuana continues to be dangerous and that the shift would undermine your strong efforts to make America great again. I don't think the government should be telling anybody what to put in their body. If an adult wants to put something in their body, it's really none of the government's business. You know, I would say in the whole preamble, you know, we have to write, you know, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Well, if it's going to make somebody happy to smoke something or snort something, I don't see how the government has any right to get involved. I believe what is listed as illegal per testing is THC, though when not burning, cooking via heat. THC is different, not cause high feeling, called THCA, THC, THO. I don't know. Yeah, his name is Bud, quite ironic. If they had a breathalyzer and random drug test for Congress, a lot of them will be gone. The only winners from rescheduling will be bad actors such as communist China. Oh yeah, fucking China's going to make a profit off. How would China make a profit? I don't even think China has any land that is good for growing. They would have to have. Maybe I'm wrong, though. As for decriminalizing, Trump has not previously committed to such a move, though he had considered reclassifying it for much of his second term. He once said, as a candidate said, it should remain a state-by-state issue. Well, there you go. That would mean that Congress would get out of it. As president, he's made his crusade against other drugs, especially fentanyl, a feature of his second term, ordering U.S. military attacks on Venezuela and other boats. No, Bella's not free yet, Nana, 1776. We have not had, we haven't even had a single anything come in. Yeah. Nothing there. Nothing on Cash App, nothing on PayPal. So, I have no problem with medical marijuana, but not a fan of general legalization. If you want to stay at home, fine, but they don't. See stupid stuff under influence on a weekly basis. Well, that's the thing. I think they would have to develop a way to actually test drivers and stuff like that. Like the tests that they have are not adequate to really. All right, look at this. We got a first gift of the evening from Woodtick Mike. Gifted a membership over on Rumble. Let's see who gets it. We'll have to wait. See who gets it. It's got to be somebody in there that's not a member. And it says, let's see who's going to get it. I think Nixie would have got it if she's still there. She's still there. Sugar makes you fat and unhealthy and makes kids irritating. We should outlaw it. Well, they could. So with that, it says, delay is obvious. Received the gifted membership from Woodtick Mike. So thank you. Delay is obvious. Received the gifted membership. So with that, we are now 95 away from the first additional hour. and 45 away from Bellavision. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. So it says President Trump signed executive order Thursday that reclassifies the less dangerous drug and open avenues for medical research. The switch would move marijuana away from its current classification Schedule 1 alongside whatever. So we got all that. Nana says, okay, I freed Bella through Cash App. Okay. Oh, wow, look at us. We got another guy coming in here. I noticed that your channel could benefit from a larger audience to help boost your streams. With the right support, you could start earning 100 per hour. Whoa, 100 per hour. What, have you been watching my show? I can help grow your channel. 3,000 real followers as opposed to all the fake ones I clearly have now. Everything you need to become eligible for Kick's affiliate program. Wow, cool. I'll reach out. I'll definitely contact you on your Discord or your WhatsApp or your something. Hey, look at this. Cash App from Nana. Thank you, Cash App from Nana. Thank you so much. Let me correct the camera here. Get a little correction. A little correct-a-boo. Okay. All right, I feel better now. We're all good. Let me fix the banner. 25 came in from, where'd it go? Where'd it go? From Nana 1776, freed Bella. Thank you, Nana. Thank you. So with that, we are now, let's see here, 25. We are now 70 away from the first additional hour of the show. Thank you all so much. You're not fake, Lisa? Yes, Nana did. Thank you, Nana. Japuti calls. That's right. Changing it from class 1 to class 3. Yeah, that's... He spelled engagement right tonight. Yeah, well, he's learning. Maybe he heard you the other night, or maybe the bot picked it up. This will make it easier for people who are in chronic pain and don't want to take a big pharma poison, get government-subsidized THC products. What about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Do you people don't understand? Worry about yourself and your kids and leave everyone else out of your thought. Changing from class 1 to class 3 does not legalize marijuana. No one said that. That's what we said. It's not legalizing it, but it's making it so that they could test things. And with it being a class 3, then it can be prescribed by doctors as a class 3 drug. Like ketamine is prescribed by doctors. It's like gambling in Maryland. All it did was let people who couldn't go to West Virginia to throw their money away, their Social Security checks, the ability to get on a bus to do so, cause their social services to skyrocket, decriminalized. It calls for expanded research and access to CBDs. So that's all we talk about. Toxic medicine side effects. Yeah, this is all looking at all that stuff. All right. This is Trump makes blunt remarks to conservatives who oppose this. President Trump signed executive order on Thursday declassifying marijuana as a less dangerous substance despite concerns from GOP rhinos. It sends a strong message. So it'll only make it far easier to conduct marijuana-related medical research, allowing us to study benefits, potential dangers, and future treatments. It's going to have tremendous positive impact. Hey, Dr. Megawatts, what's up? Great to see you. Ketamine was only used as a veterinary drug until Obama, now wisely used. Yeah, it can help a lot of people. Why couldn't it be tested without special scheduling? Because a Schedule 1 drug, they say it has no medical benefits whatsoever, so researchers can't even test it for anything. Just possessing it would be a serious crime. You can't get a permit or anything to test it. You can't get, permission to test it. What's it say? I still think we should move the QR code to right of Bella over the blue circle thing when it leave. I don't have the QR code goes to where where they put it on there. I don't have a choice. It's there or, the other corner. There's 2 QR codes, and that's where the thing puts them. Victimist pot now replanted. They don't test alcohol. Well, they already tested alcohol. They use morphine as classification as Schedule 1. No, morphine is not a Schedule 1. Because if it's Schedule 1 means no medical usage. None. Doc says, I strongly support medical marijuana, but I watch friends go through chemo from puking their guts out to almost normal with a few hits. It's life-changing. Yeah, I guess there's good and bad and everything. There is. It's trade-offs. That's what life is. It's all about, you take the good, you take the bad, the facts of life. The facts of life. Alcohol manufacturers are not required to even divulge the ingredients in their whiskey. Well, they're secrets. The order asked Congress to reconsider its classification of hemp-derived CBD to help seniors access CBD products. Some people are literally dying in there, dying with tremendous pain. Pete Sessions, House Freedom Caucus chairman, led 24 other members in writing Trump, urging him to oppose the rescheduling of marijuana. Led by Senator Ted Budd, North Carolina. When they asked Trump how he'd respond, he'd say, let one of those doctors respond because they'll do it better. But I only tell him 82% of people want this. If 82% of people in America want something, that kind of means it should happen. Really. I've always been discreet, never ever thought about being busted. I felt was wrong and I broke it. All right. Yeah. Morphine is Schedule 2. We have cannabis scheduled for how long and hasn't protected neither the adolescents nor the adults. We have 20 million people in the U.S. with cannabis use disorder. This is not legalizing. It's making it easier to do research so we can use it when it's indicated and optimal. All right. On to the next story. The jury verdict sends a powerful message to those who are contemplating obstructing federal immigration enforcement. In other news, Australia is buying back guns again. Schedule 1, well, I'll never test this. Yeah. Even if you're a judge, you'll go to prison. A jury has found Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Diner Dugan guilty of one of 2 charges in her trial. Dugan was found guilty of obstructing federal agents and not guilty of concealing an undocumented immigrant from arrest. I don't understand how they only found her guilty of one thing. I think they didn't understand what was going on. Judge Doogie guilty of one. Ugh. Oh my God. Crazy. Five-year max statute. The base offense is 14. She'll pick up an enhancement for abuse of position for +2. Level 16 with no reduction for acceptance puts her at a GL range of 21 to 27 months. Goodbye, black robe and law license. Hannah Dugan, former judge, we should say, because she's no longer a judge after this. The jury seemed to have had enough, like the rest of us. Well, I think what really happened is the other judge that testified was like, yeah, this is, she should have never did that. That's against the law. You can't do that. I am shocked the judge got convicted of anything, let alone the felony. The blind squirrel of justice found a nut. Yeah. Well, I wonder if Boasberg is listening to this. I don't know. Visual of the potency of fentanyl, therapeutic patch, pain management the size of a quarter versus a 55-gallon morphine drip next to a hospice's bed. Okay. Wow. It's not a buyback if it's mandatory. They misspelled confiscation. The weed stores couldn't even open bank accounts, so owners had to deal in cash and kept large amounts on hand because of Schedule 1. Good move, Trump. I don't know if that does anything for that. That has to do with the federal banking rules, and that would actually, I think, take Congress or someone else to step in to change that, because that has to do with the regulations for the banks and stuff like that. And as long as it's still federally illegal, sale of it would still be it's still a risky proposition. I thought they sort of fixed it, but I wasn't 100% sure. Funny, the guy she helped is walking free in his country. She can go to prison in hers. Yeah. Milwaukee judge Hannah Dugan on Thursday evening was found guilty of obstruction for helping an illegal alien evade ICE agents. She was acquitted on count 1, the misdemeanor, but she was found guilty on count 2, the felony. Okay. Somebody else just sent me 25 on Cash App. I'm not 100% sure who it is. I don't want to say his name. So I'll just call you JC. Thank you for the 25. That was you? Who's handsome? Well, thank you. Thank you. Who's handsome? Who's handsome? We already had Bella was already but thank you, because that makes us $25. Yes, it does. They've been talking about it for years up here. Well, no, I know about what I'm saying though is I don't know that this changes that at all, because this has to do with medical testing and scheduling of the drug. It's still illegal federally, so it's still federally illegal. I don't know how that changes anything with the. I don't know how that changes anything with the as far as banking rules go. That's all I'm saying. I thought Obama I thought Biden did something with that, or they were going to change something. Maybe, I don't know. Oh wait. Oh, we're 45 away now. All right, we're 45 away from the first additional hour now. It's illegal, just not as highly illegal. Yeah. You were behind? All right. Well, thank you, though. Adam Clasfield. Judge Dugan acquitted on count 1, convicted on count 2. A jury found a Wisconsin judge accused of helping a illegal alien dodge federal authorities guilty of obstruction on Thursday. Why did pot become illegal in the first place? Well, that's a funny story. A lot of people think that it had a lot to do with uses in paper mills, and what was his name? Hearst was worried about it, and so that's why it got banned. But they put out that that funny thing is they put out the Jazz Cabbage type thing, Reefer Madness movie that scared the shit out of people, and that's why they made it illegal. And that, I think, messed up thing about it is that's kind of actually coming true today. A lot of people say with the higher potency of this stuff. It was Getty. I thought it was Hearst. Okay. Because did Getty own the paper mills, or was it Hearst that owned the paper mills? Oh, look at this. Oh. Getting closer. Thank you for the 10. With that 10, we are now 35 away from the first additional hour of the show. You have the movie? Okay. Reefer Madness. Yeah. Hearst was the newspaper man. It was cotton versus hemp. No, but I thought it had to do with paper mills. How did it have to do with paper mills? Reefer Madness is on YouTube. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, after all, alcohol was forbidden unconstitutionally. No, actually, alcohol was forbidden. It was a constitutional amendment to make it illegal. They actually did a constitutional amendment that had to be repealed. Hemp was used for all kinds of shit. The history's amazing, but someone came across MJ and thought it was hemp. When they got off FUBAR, they banned it with hemp. Yeah. Well, yeah, there used to be Doc Hearst was later. Okay. Well, hemp rope. Yeah, like the government. That's another thing too that a lot of people don't know is our government used to have along all the railroad tracks. Anywhere there was railroad tracks, there used to be hemp growing around the railroad tracks. Okay. And because the government used it to make all the ropes for the Navy. All right. Then when all the marijuana stuff came around, I think it was in the 60s, they started spraying all the hemp that was growing with paraquat, which poisoned people. Our own government, because they said, people won't smoke it if they know we poisoned it. But look it up. Our own government poisoned a whole bunch of people, just like they did it with alcohol too during Prohibition. They put stuff in the alcohol to make people, kill big people, go blind and all this other stuff. And yeah, all types of stuff. So you always got to be, it's sunshine with a 5 versus and closed. Right. Hemp still grows in many states. Yeah, it's still like if you go to Indiana and stuff, thank you so much for the 5. If you go to Indiana and in Illinois, there's still a lot of railroad tracks with it growing. So now we're 30 away from the first additional hour. There's if you go, there's still growing, fields of it, of hemp growing. Yeah, hemp clothing is good. No, it was legal. One's right until corrupt government can control people's rights. Speedy Gonzalez versus Slowpoke Rodriguez. Yes, I got to go. Yes, come with me. They made it with polyploid. Some of it will get you high. Yeah. Our government is corrupt. Treason every day. Okay. Yeah, remember the government is here to help. Sales were made from hemp, but it cut into cotton profits, right? Maybe. I don't know. So, Dugan and her attorneys left the courtroom, ducked into a side conference room, and closed the door without speaking to reporters. Scotch broom followed the railroad tracks across the U.S. Hemp grew all over the country growing up. The farmers would cut it down and blend it with cow feed to help fight illness. Awesome. Oh, what is this? We got Feats 810. Sup, nerds? It's been a while. Hope all is well. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. And with that, we are now just $25 away from the first additional hour of the show. They were spraying the pot farms in Mexico with that shit, paraquat. They sprayed all the stuff here, too, that was growing. Yeah. And then people got sick from it. Yeah. They took the hemp, made it polyploid to make it taller, but they made super potent weed. Okay. Didn't have anything to do with weeds next to railroad tracks catching fire. I have no idea. It's me, Patrick7. For some reason, YouTube changed my name, and I can't change it back. It's YouTube is doing something. That's your handle on YouTube, not your name, I think, or something like that. I don't know. I can't figure it out either. Politicians should be charged with obstructing for hampering ICE. Yes, they should. Yes, they should. So it says in April, a grand jury indicted Hannah Dugan for helping an illegal alien invade ICE agents. And according to the FBI, Dugan became angry when she found out that ICE agents were waiting outside her courtroom last week to arrest Eduardo Flores Ruiz, an illegal alien involved in a domestic abuse case she was overseeing. She allegedly directed Flores Ruiz to exit the courthouse through a private jury door to evade arrest. FBI Director Kash Patel said Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested at her courthouse. It's not her courthouse anymore. The shocking complaint detailed Dugan's actions to intimidate federal agents and how she helped the agents evade arrest. Yeah, she told them, get out. You can't be here. The video shows Dugan in her robes walking through the courthouse halls, confronting ICE agents dressed in in plain clothes. Later on, the illegal alien and her lawyer are seen sneaking out the jury door so he can evade arrest.
Video from the Milwaukee County Courthouse giving us a look at what went down last month between Judge Hannah Dugan, a team of federal agents, and a man wanted on an immigration warrant. It shows those agents in plain clothes trying to blend in until Judge Dugan calls them out. Steve Shamrez walks us through the pictures.
Judge Dugan, still in her courtroom robe, walks up to two men on a bench in the hallway. There's no audio, but after a few seconds of their conversation, both men get up and walk off. Those are the federal agents waiting to take Eduardo Flores Ruiz into custody. A few minutes later, we see Flores Ruiz back in the hallway with his lawyer. A third federal agent, leaning against the wall, turns and follows them out. We see the three of them again walking out through a security checkpoint. First Flores Ruiz and his lawyer, and then the agent in his brown shirt. A low-key pursuit that continues through a tunnel out the building. The agent just 8 steps behind. Outside the building, the pace picked up. You can see people sprinting across 10th Street. The feds say agents were chasing down Flores Ruiz as he tried to run. A pursuit that ended seconds later, with the agents returning and Flores Ruiz in custody.
And Judge Hannah Dugan was arrested a week later by federal agents. She's been charged with concealing an individual to prevent arrest and obstructing justice. Dugan has pled not guilty to those charges. She's due back in federal court on July 9th, and her jury trial has been set for July.
Oh, yeah. Well, she did get convicted, so. All right, let's see here. Rachel Boone says, I wonder if she will get time disbarred. She will get disbarred because it's a crime of moral turpitude, and she can't hold office in Wisconsin. It's against the law for a convicted felon to hold any office in Wisconsin, especially like this, so she's going to lose the job. She was already suspended by the Supreme Court of Wisconsin. Now, will she get time? Everything I've seen says that she's probably going to get like a year. Like maybe a year and a day or something like that. Like it adds up to her getting like the time actually, like all her numbers. Like the federal government's not like the state governments, state prosecution where they, get off early and all stuff. It's basically they have, and the judges have latitude. In the federal system, the judges really don't have a lot of latitude when it comes to crimes. They have like a list, and this is numbers, and this is what it is. So even if they like get it to come down as much as the judge can do it, she's still going to get like a year according to what multiple attorneys who practice federally have said. And then I want to address this. It says, is it really necessary to say the F word so much? There may at times be kids watching or trying to learn things. Cussing is not good for an impressionable younger one. Just saying, well, I've been really trying not to swear as much as I can. I do. I try to cut it back because, believe it or not, YouTube doesn't like it. So I do try to cut it back. And I didn't even remember, did I say the F word tonight? I didn't think I did. If I did, I apologize. And other than the cussing, I very much enjoy the show. Well, I appreciate that, and I'm working on it. I'm trying my best to tone it down. The U.S. government and Eli Lilly drug company made so-called super weed. The government had Lilly make a genetic knife to cut the DNA strand of pot, try to make it pocket weaker and weaker. Oh, it made it stronger and stronger. 9 out of 10 plants got weaker, but 1 out of 10 went stronger, so the government allowed the genetic drug knife. I would rather have a conversation with Selma, but if they want me to back off, usually it's said when I can't debate. Dugan threw away her career for someone who probably laughs at her now from the front porch of his home in her country. And that is how so-called super weed came to be. Well, a couple of months of time, maybe 1 year, but out in 3. No. If she gets a year and a day in federal prison, she's going to have to do at least 6 months, and then maybe get 6 months in a halfway house. It's not the same. It's not the same. She was suspended with pay, so hopefully they ended her pay now. They probably will. Maybe. Bella doesn't like the cussing. No, she doesn't. She gets very mad at me. Understood, but it's still not a good look. No, I try my best, and sometimes it slips out. It's a felony to have that drug knife now. Okay. Yeah, correct, Jim. Federal sentencing guidelines are different. Yeah, they are different. Federal's really different. They really, the Congress and all them. They really put, they're like, oh no, we want to do this. And my audio is a little low tonight. Is it? All right. Sorry. Let me see. Is that better? Maybe it's my mic is. My setup was changed slightly, so my mic might be off. Funny that Bella's stuffed animal hasn't moved since the last time I was able to join a month or so ago. Look at you can see her lip moving right there. Look at her. There she goes. She just moved. See? You asked, you received. Better? All right. So Dugan is guilty of obstructing ICE. She found guilty for obstructing ICE. ICE, baby. Bump, 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 bump. She was found guilty by a jury, now faces up to 5 years in prison on a felony obstruction. It's actually because she did it while she was, while a judge, she used a position of authority, of power to do it. It's actually more serious crime. So she let him out the back door. While we're disappointed in today's outcome, the failure of prosecutions to confer convictions on both counts demonstrates the opportunity we have to clear Dugan's name and show she did nothing wrong. What? We have planned for this potential outcome, and our defense of Judge Dugan is just beginning. The trial required considerable resources to prepare for, and public support for Dugan's defense fund is critical as we prepare for our next phase of this defense. A jury came to the guilty verdict after deliberating for 6 hours. She was acquitted on the misdemeanor. They probably just said, okay, we'll give her the one and not the other. That's probably what happened. That's probably what happened. It was probably a compromise. Wisconsin, Brad Schimmel, the interim U.S. attorney, said the verdict that Dugan is certainly not evil, nor is she a martyr for some greater cause. You just turned down all your other tabs? Oh, okay. I turned it up. I should have got louder. I turned up the gain. I increased the gain 3 dB. Sorry. It was a criminal case like many that make their way through the courthouse every day, and we must all accept the verdict peacefully. Federal prosecutors said Dugan had ordered the ICE agents to speak to a judge in a nearby office, then went back to her courtroom and brought Flores to a non-public jury door, which led to a non-public hallway with 2 doors. One of the doors, which Flores believes did not take, would have led down a stairwell to the next floor. He and his public defender took the door that led to the public hallway. Oh, so she tried to get him. See, they didn't say that in all the reporting. So she tried to take him away where he could have went away where no one would have saw him. Just because the guy went the wrong way, picked, what's behind door number 1, what's behind door number 2, he picked the wrong door. And so otherwise he would have got away. So there's that. This is what legal insurrection has to say about it. We weren't, found guilty. Says we weren't trying to make an example out of anyone. This was necessary to hold Judge Dugan accountable because of the actions she took. The judge was arrested, and now a jury's found her guilty of obstruction. A jury of 7 men, 5 women deliberated for 6 hours before delivering a split verdict. There's not a political aspect. There's really not a political aspect. The judge broke the law, and nobody's above the law, remember? Nobody's above the law. This guy says the case is very long way from over. Well, we'll see what happens. No sentencing hearing was set. I wonder why. I wonder if someone's going to play some games. If the judge on it, because the judge, I heard the judge that's overseeing the case is a really, how should I say, left-leaning type judge. Meatloaf's sister, maybe. The weed is stronger because they figured out that if the female is not pollinated, she gets horny. Okay. Damn right it was necessary. Yeah. Under Wisconsin law, Dugan is no longer eligible to hold public office. I guess I have to do this.
This is WISN 12 News with breaking news.
Good evening. We are interrupting regular programming with breaking news in the trial of Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan.
And that verdict coming in just moments ago. It is a split verdict, not guilty on one count and guilty on the other. The not guilty is for count one, which was the misdemeanor of concealing a person to prevent their arrest. The guilty verdict from this jury was on the felony count of obstructing. These two charges came after this incident back in April where Dugan was accused of helping Eduardo Flores Ruiz, an undocumented immigrant, avoid ICE officials at the courthouse in April.
Now, we know that the jurors have been deliberating for a little over 6 hours. We've been catching in every single update that our reporters inside the courtroom have been giving us, and we have been covering this case from last week when we first started the trial up until now, which is now 8 months of coverage with this entire case. And we have a lot to get to, including live team coverage.
And we start with Blake Easton, who is outside the federal courthouse for us right now.
Yeah, that's right, Derek and Deanna. You said it. We've been here all day long, and honestly, it's hard to believe we have reached this now, getting a verdict in this case. They've been deliberating for about 6 hours at this point in time, and around the 6 o'clock hour, that is when we learned that the judge was buying the jury pizza. That's signaling that they could very well go the distance tonight, and obviously, with the breaking news, they have. A verdict has been reached. At this point, our crews are gathering to bring you full coverage, but before we get to all of that, I kind of want to walk you through the day of events leading up to this, because it cannot be emphasized enough. The jury has been extremely busy today. They have heard a lot and they have seen a lot. Getting here early this morning, defense took the stand and they didn't take much time at all. In fact, they only called 4 witnesses to testify: 2 Milwaukee County judges, a public state defender, and former mayor of Milwaukee, Tom Barrett. The defense rested their case without ever calling Dugan to testify. After that, it then presented time for closing arguments. Prosecution went first, saying a courtroom should be a place of neutrality. When a judge uses her position, her robe, her courtroom to evade the law, that is when it undermines the entire justice system. Then it was.
I would be really interested to hear what the witnesses that testified for her had to say. I heard a lot of stuff about what the state's witnesses say, but I would want to know, like, what the former mayor of Milwaukee said. Like, seems to me like the judge should have not allowed that person. What are they testifying to? They weren't there that day. They have no facts. There was no reason for them to be there. These seems like character witnesses, which you're not allowed to have character witnesses. So let's see. Audra says, where's it at? So she's a felon now. She won't be able to vote either, will she? I think Wisconsin is like Illinois and a lot of states that are Democrat controlled, where as soon as you get out of jail, you immediately get your rights automatically restored. Don't know, though, how that works with federal felonies, though. That's with state crimes. I'm not sure. I would have to look into that to see if that's true for federal crimes also. But then again, a state is usually the one who determines if you have the right to vote or not. It's states decide what gets to vote, not. So I don't know. But I think, like, I know, and actually, I think Illinois actually made it so that you can actually have people in prison vote now, and which is like weird because they want to get control over the places where they have the prison. So if somebody's in a prison, instead they got a prison that's got 10, 12,000 people in the prison, and it's in the middle of like nowhere in southern Illinois, and it's a county or a town or whatever of 15,000 people, but they have 10,000 people in the prison that can get to vote one way. That's how the Democrats can take control over southern Illinois. I think that's what they did. Not 100% sure, but I know that's what they were trying to do. And they wanted to make like, if you're in prison, you get to vote on local elections. It's like, what? What? Former Judge Dugan, they need to update their graphics. In the 17th century, when he automated the weaving looms with punch cards and put everything I want out of work, the government lowered the price of gin, even started giving it away too. I'm glad I'm not her. Keeping everyone drunk so they wouldn't overthrow them. Dugan was such a straight shooter, she couldn't even defend herself. Yeah, it's weird. Why didn't she take the stand? Yeah, Yeah, character witnesses knew her since she was 12. Well, the mayor was a character witness, except she didn't have enough of the straight shooting character to take the stand in her defense. How were they allowed to put on a character witness? Did the prosecution attack her character in some way? It seems like the judge was really letting her get away with a lot of crap. I saw too that the judge in this case allowed the defense to bring up the fact they were like talking on Signal and making a big deal, like, oh, it's Signal. We've heard about things with Signal, and like, what does it have to do with what she did? I guess we got our one conviction before Christmas. I disagree with you, Jim. I don't think she'll see the inside of a prison. Probably probation due to her service. That would actually be outside of the guidelines, and they would have to be able to justify that in some way. I would argue that she deserves to be in prison more than someone else because she should have known better. She should have known better. I thought it was a federal law. A felon can't vote or own guns. A felon can't own guns federally. But now there's a whole thing that they're doing with the restoration of rights and stuff like that. But as far as the voting, though, I think that's controlled by states. She will be a federal felon. Yeah, but I think that's controlled by states, though, as far as voting. State legislatures are responsible for setting up voting and rules for voting and all that stuff. I think a fellow judge that there was the day testified against her, also the court reporter. Yeah, no, if the fellow judges who testified against her and basically said, like, oh, you can't do that. Oh, my God, I can't believe she did it. Like, basically threw her under the bus, which probably, there was probably, I believe the defense tried to make the argument like, well, she's just doing that because to get off the hook herself. If the Democrats keep control, the judge will get out and be a judge again. Well, I mean, what would have to happen is either Wisconsin would have to change their laws so that she could go back on the bench, which are they really going to change their laws to allow felons to be judges? I don't know. What probably they're waiting for is they're hoping that a Democrat president would pardon her, but wonder if the judge will do like the other case and throw it out. That would be a conflict, all connected. Yeah. That's where IBM got the idea for punch cards, except they use light through the holes instead of pegs. Correct, the voting thing is by states. That's what I thought. It's controlled by the states. You have some friends with felonies in some states, they can vote. Most states now, I mean, honestly, most states now it's automatic. It's automatic. Like when you get out, you get your voting rights back. Once you complete, like in Florida, I believe you have to pay back, all the restitution has to be paid, your parole, everything's got to be done, and any money you owed, anything, that's all got to be paid off. And then you go in and they give you your rights back. But like Illinois, and I'm pretty sure Wisconsin, it's like the day you walk out of prison, it's automatically restored. And not testify against, I call it telling the truth. All rights should be restored after you do your time. Yes, definitely. I agree. That's the way it used to be until the 1968 Gun Control Act. All rights were restored. You could go to jail, like people, like bootleggers and stuff during Prohibition and, armed robbers and stuff like that, would go to jail for whatever, and they would get out of jail and they would hand them, here's your guns back. So that's governor pardoning her. A governor pardoning her is not going to do anything. It's a federal crime. Yes, and she could get the book thrown at her. Our judges, officers of court, she's certainly a member of it. Yeah. Well, I have a feeling that she's going to get, I don't know if they have to impeach her statewide or if they could just, the state Supreme Court could just say, you're off. Wisconsin could just be like, nope, you're done, or like a disciplinary board or whatever. I don't know. Never forget she'll be sentenced in Milwaukee by a liberal judge. Well, yeah. Friendly felon. While that's ridiculous, they shouldn't be able to vote at all. Lisa, for another 5, thank you. Thank you so much. And with that, now that just means we are just $20 away. Just $20 away from the first additional hour of the show. Thank you so much. Just thank you. You don't have to request. In Illinois, in Wisconsin? I don't believe so. I mean, I can look it up right now just to be sure. I know in Illinois you don't, and I know most liberal states it's how it is. Like you get they want those ballots. You know what I'm saying? In Wisconsin, individuals convicted of a felony lose their right to vote while serving their sentence, including time in prison, probation, parole, or extended supervision. However, their voting rights are automatically restored once they have fully completed their sentence and are no longer under any form of supervision. Restoration occurs right here, see? Once voting rights are restored, individuals must re-register to vote in order to participate. Re-registration can be done online. This restoration occurs without any need for a pardon or additional application, and the Department of Corrections is required to inform the former prisoner in writing when their voting rights are restored. It's important to note that individuals who are still incarcerated around probation, parole, or extended supervision for a felony conviction are not eligible to vote. However, those awaiting trial on felony charges or serving a misdemeanor sentence may still be able to vote by absentee ballot using their pre-incarceration address. There's one exception to the automatic restoration. Individuals convicted of treason cannot vote unless specifically pardoned by a governor. Additionally, while voting rights are automatically restored upon completion of a sentence, the right to hold public office is not restored unless the individual receives a pardon as specified in the Wisconsin Constitution. Wisconsin Election Commission conducts post-election checks to identify any instances of ineligible voting, and voting while under correctional supervision for a felony is a Class 1 felony punished by fines and imprisonment. So there's that. Yeah. So restore the rights of a murderer. Forgive me if I disagree. In Florida, I believe you have to request the rights back, and it's done in court. And FDLE just declaring, I could be wrong. There was a vote. There was an amendment, constitutional amendment in Florida a couple of years ago, and it basically said that once everything's all done, they still have to go in front of the judge and get it restored. And there's been a little confusion about it from what I've heard, because when they go in front of the judge to get your rights restored, if they don't specify that it's like what rights it is, they just say it's a rights restoration and they restore your civil rights. They're also restoring your gun rights, but they do that in Florida. Actually, Florida is one of the states where they will restore your gun rights. Illinois will too, but you have to do that through the Illinois State Police because they have a FOID card and all this other stuff. And that's why another reason why they do the automatic restoration thing. Like they have to do, if they're going to most states, if they're going to restore the rights to voting and stuff like that, they have to have a process for you to restore your other rights. Otherwise, it's an equal protection claim. So they all have it, but it's usually like a weird rigmarole way they have to go through it. But Illinois actually used to be pretty easy. It was just like as soon as you had 10 years after a felony in Illinois, you're done after 10 years. You just write a letter, get a couple people to sign some papers, send it to the Illinois State Police, and you get your gun rights back. But there was a guy who was like 30 years that he had his gun rights back, and then like 30 years later, he went and did another shooting, and so they made it. Oh, we got to change the rules because this one guy did something. And in Michigan, they do it automatically and send you a letter in the mail now. A lot of people are upset about it because it's completely expunging your record and giving hard criminals gun rights back. Well, I personally, my personal belief is that if you're safe enough to be out of prison, then you're safe enough to have your right to own a gun to defend yourself. If you're unsafe and can't be trusted with a gun, you probably should be in prison still. Yeah, because everyone knows criminals follow the law. Yeah.
turned for the defense to go, saying that they're trying to make an example out of Hannah Dugan, saying that they have a different version of the facts than the prosecution. And now, because this is the federal government's case, they were then allowed to give a rebuttal. And that was before the judge was then giving them jury instructions before they could begin that jury deliberation process. And as we mentioned, look, it's been about 6 hours, fairly quiet outside of the federal courthouse throughout the 6 hours of the jury deliberations. There's been about 3 moments in time where the jury has had several questions for the judge. Now, the first question revolved around ICE policies and whether or not how they can present a warrant, what policies they have to follow before and after that warrant is presented. Derek, I believe you mentioned that early on in our coverage, noting that's kind of what led us here. Another question kind of had to do with Eduardo Flores Ruiz and whether or not he was given his name and if that mattered in the case. And so a lot of those questions, it did bring the defense and prosecution up at one point kind of going at odds. But those were the only moments we heard from the jury up until this moment right now, obviously with the verdict coming in. Again, we've got a whole crew of people here outside and inside the federal courthouse. The teams are gathering all of their information. There's a lot of moving pieces now, but that's where we are at this particular moment. Of course, we'll let you know if anything changes here on the ground, guys.
Go ahead.
All right, Blake, thank you so much. Blake out there reporting live for us outside of the federal courthouse. And if you're just joining us right now, let's get back to that split verdict that just came in for Milwaukee County.
Did I talk about the leak with the Fannie Willis stuff yet? Apparently, Liberal Media reported she wasn't found guilty 30 minutes before. No, you're talking about Tish James. That ABC News reported that they did not indict her 30 minutes before they came back into the court and actually said it. So somebody, as I said, somebody probably, whoever the career prosecutors are that are tanking it, not getting getting the indictment against Fannie, that's probably who's leaking and doing all this stuff. They're probably purposely doing it. And then Joe says, "What, Jim? Are you forgetting how many not safe get released by mistake or overcrowding?" I'm just saying, I have to play. So I have to play it. To me, I have to be non-hypocritical about it and say that if somebody serves their time and pays their debt to society, why are they still being punished for the rest of their life? That seems like cruel and unusual to me, and it seems like something that never happened in our history until 1968. That's when it happened. That's when that started. You did not lose your gun rights for a crime, no matter what they try to say. Like, oh, blah, blah, blah. That didn't happen until 1968. Look it up. There was no law saying felons lost their gun rights. There wasn't. Not until 1968. That was it. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. If they are dangerous with guns, they shouldn't be out. That's right. That's what I'm saying. That's what it's. Not all in home guilty. One has the right to. Yeah, no matter what. Yeah, like. If you look, I mean, this is one of these things. Like, you guys can look it up. If you look at what happened after the Gun Control Act of 1968, why crime spiked like crazy in the early 70s and stuff, it was because these areas, these people knew, like, oh, none of these people can have guns in their house, so we can go rob them, we can do this. So only the people who were actually criminals were the ones in certain neighborhoods that had guns. And when you look at the facts of a percentage of a population that has been prohibited from owning a firearm for self-defense in their home, holy crap, a certain population is massively restricted, for stuff that, they might have committed a crime and, when they were 18 or 20 or 22, 23, and then done nothing wrong the rest of their life. And then they don't have a gun because they can't. And then they're a victim to people who are criminals. Jay Wills comes in with another 5, rooting for that additional hour. Well, thank you so much. And with that, we are now just $15 away, man. Just $15 away from the first additional hour of the show. I have a good feeling that we're going to hit it tonight. I really do. It may upset some people, but I agree, if you're completely clean your sentence, then your debt is paid. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about those released due to error or overcrowding. Well, that's the thing. Like, if you're still on parole or something like that, then I think, yeah, because you're on parole, that means you didn't complete your whole sentence. So if you're released by overcrowding, you would still be on parole or some kind of supervision usually. So then you wouldn't have it until that's over. But like, so if somebody got 10 years and they only did 5 and then they got 5 on parole, obviously they'd have to serve that whole 5 on parole. And then, I'm not opposed to there being like, well, like some kind of waiting period, really, like, 5 years or something, or 10 years after you complete your sentence, you get your rights back, as long as you didn't commit any more crimes. Government institutes to secure people's rights, not control them. There's an interesting history of gun right activists helping pass laws to keep guns away from black people because of Black Panthers and other groups which rolled them into modern gun control. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly why the Gun Control Act of 68 barred felons from owning guns, because the Black Panthers were primarily made up of ex-felons, people who were felons but weren't anymore. They were law-abiding citizens, but they had the right to keep and bear arms now, and they were protesting and they were doing things and they were protecting themselves. That's why that law got passed, was to specifically to strip Black Panthers of their gun rights. And actually just honestly to strip, 42%, I think it was, or 43% of adult male African Americans had felony convictions that kept them from owning guns. So, FBI operations to abuse people. You don't permanently lose your right to speak or assemble or go to church. Why would your right to be self-defense be any different? Yeah, I agree. In Michigan, it's 7 years after completion of all sentencing guidelines. Members of Congress take an oath to protect the Constitution. They break it and are attacking our Bill of Rights. Yeah, they do. How many lives does it save or take? More crime. Yeah. Well, I mean, you say good enough to be released, good enough to get your rights back. We're not going to agree. I'm a bit extreme on this. What I'm saying is, if you're safe enough to not be in prison, like if they say like, okay, you're done and we don't have to keep an eye on you anymore. If you're done, then you should get your rights back. I don't know. We don't have to agree. You've got your opinion. I respect that you have that opinion. Believe me, I know a bunch of people that have that same opinion. I am an absolutist. I think there should be vending machines at the 7-Eleven with hand grenades and machine guns and silencers. That's my opinion. Because the objects don't do anything. People do stuff. And when people commit a crime, we punish them. You don't punish the object. You don't punish the people that didn't commit crimes. And that's what all gun laws do. They don't punish criminals. They punish law-abiding people. All the gun laws stop law-abiding people from exercising their right to keep and bear arms. That's all gun laws do. People have the right to be wrong. Yes, they do. Guns are like abortions. If you want one bad enough, you will get one. Yeah, we won't take that away from them. No. See, I personally like when people make all these pronouncements about how, we need to do all this stuff and, like, we're going to take guns away and no one has a right to have these military weapons, all this stuff. I always say, well, okay, if that's how you believe, then I don't respect your right to speech. Because if you don't want to respect my Second Amendment rights, why would I honor your First Amendment rights? But I know that's being hypocritical. But it's funny to make them go, what? Well, no, it's the same thing. It's number 1, number 2. So you don't care about number 1, 2. So I don't care about number 1. So have a nice day. The Brady Act took it further. Yeah, it did. And then the Hughes Amendment basically made it so that only machine guns, which machine guns used in the 1920s and 30s, used to be able to order a Thompson submachine gun from Sears Roebuck and they would mail it to your house. You used to be able to get cases of grenades shipped to your house. Now, criminals aren't registering their guns. No. And that whole purpose of the thing that I want everyone to realize is that registration is the first step to confiscation. Because that's what, if you listen to all these politicians talking, they say it out loud. Ilhan Omar said it. Well, we have to know who's got what guns. That way we can take them from them. My family members had dozens of machine guns up until the 80s. Yeah. It wasn't the Hughes Amendment. And now it's like you can't, you used to be able to buy dynamite at a hardware store. You can own a Gatling gun. Yeah, you can own cannons. You can own all types of stuff. You can own a Gatling gun. I don't know, the crank maybe. You can own all types of stuff, but all the Hughes Amendment did was make it so that you have this. The only people that could actually afford machine guns are people that are very wealthy. So that's why I think it should be challenged and knocked down, because when you want to buy a machine gun, okay, it's $200,000 for a belt-fed machine gun. What? Yeah. Rights are the people's laws. Do no harm. Common law. Law of nature. All right. Let's see. We've got a couple more seconds. Let's see what it says.
Judge Hannah Dugan. She was found not guilty on count 1. That's that misdemeanor, concealing an individual to prevent his discovery and arrest. She was found guilty on count 2. That is the felony, and that one is obstructing or impeding a proceeding before a department or.
Yeah, so that's what she got. She'll be sentenced to any real prior. Will she be sentenced? Democrats and media have assured me that no one is above the law. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. So then Washington Post, New York Post just says, Wisconsin judge guilty of obstructing ICE after helping illegal evade. Newsmax says Wisconsin judge found guilty of obstruction of federal agents. I'm not going to talk about that. So, all right. So now, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but the United States is now blockading Venezuela. We have a blockade preventing any oil from leaving Venezuela. Now, I don't know. Like, I just want to point out that the blockade, we had a blockade on Japan, an oil embargo, if you will, on Japan, which kind of led up to Pearl Harbor. So, supposedly they have like a couple months of money because their whole government is propped up by the sale of oil, which, by the way, they stole from Citgo or Chevron. Which is it, Chevron or Citgo? One of those companies, Chevron or Citgo, one of those two companies owned all the, did all the oil exploration and had all the stuff, and they stole it all. So maybe they'll get it back. I don't know. Well, we got Matt Druid, 3796 became a YouTube member. Let's see what kind of member you became, but thank you. No. It says he's a casual listener. All right. Well, thank you for becoming a casual listener, Matt Druid. So now with that makes us come to, we are now $11 away. We are now $11 away from a first additional hour, because casual listener is a $4 membership. The paying attention is a $6 membership, and seeing the Matrix is a $10 membership. It was Citgo. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was Chevron or Citgo, but they stole all the stuff, and then all the stuff from Venezuela doesn't have any carriers. Will we find? No, what I was saying is that, look, my opinion is that Maduro is going to be finding out, going to get the Noriega treatment probably before Christmas, from all evidence I see. Good to know I disagree on something with you, Jim. To agree on everything all the time is boring. Well, it is. And then look at this. Ank goes, ho, 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 Merry Christmas. Thank you, Ank. Do we still have an active embargo against Cuba? That's on things, on that the embargo we have on Cuba is our stuff going into Cuba and anything from Cuba coming into the United States. This is an actual stopping any oil from leaving Venezuela. Blockade. And Trump was making comments about, hey, they stole all our property. They stole Americans' money and American oil and all this stuff. And because, it was all the infrastructure and everything was all American money that did it all. They didn't know it was there. They didn't find it. President Trump ordered a blockade of sanctioned oil tankers. Oh, we got Jay Wills became, you fell for Iraq. Well, this is not going to be, let's be real. This is not going to be Iraq. This is going to be 2 days, 3 days tops. And that government's over. He leaves. And there's people that'll come in, and it'll be, you were the main plaintiff in Wilson v. Cook County for their assault weapon ban case to the SCOTUS. Well, I hope you guys win. I heard that's going to be that they're going to be taking some cases. Jay Wills became a member. Thank you, Jay Wills. Let's see here. And Jay Wills became a casual listener as well. Thank you. So with that, now we are, let's see here. So that's 11. -4. Geez, I can't do this math. So that means we are now $7 away from the first additional hour of the show. I like it when a plan comes together. So thank you. I hope you're good luck with that. As far as stealing Venezuela's oil theories, Venezuelan oil is worse than Canadian oil. We only have a few refineries that can work with it. It would take 20 years to build up that production. Correction, Jim. Mellon family owned Gulf and it was taken over by Venezuela. Now Citgo. Okay. All right. So it was Gulf oil. Okay. All right. Yeah. No V in BRICS. We'll see. So Trump has ordered a blockade and ratcheting up pressure on Caracas as the U.S. builds up its military presence in the region. You heard the Democrats were pissed when they found out Chuck Schumer wrote the law that gives Trump permission to blow up the drug votes. Yeah, I think it was like a 1984 or 1980, some 84, 86 law that they signed, basically the maritime interdiction of drug vessels law that actually says they is Chevron Venezuelan oil? It might be. So it's just an outgoing oil embargo? Yeah, it's not really an embargo. It's a blockade, and any boats that come out with oil, I guess we're going to take. I don't know. We need special oil refiners to deal with the sour oil from Venezuela. We would have to build new refiners because outfitting existing ones remove from production we currently need. It was passed in 86. Okay. So that's that. OAN just says... Trump declares Maduro's government a terrorist organization, orders a blockade of sanctioned oil tankers into Venezuela. So Trump has designated the Venezuelan government a terrorist organization. Was the Chinese tanker hauling Venezuelan crude? I think so, the one we took. Yeah. Exxon? I don't know. We just take the oil and sell it. Yeah. President announced the mounting pressure on Venezuela. Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. Will only get bigger, and the shock to them will be like nothing they have ever seen before. See, that's what tells me the shock to them will be like nothing they'll ever see before. Means they're going to planning something. Until that such time as they return to the United States, all the oil, land, and other assets that they previously stole from us. So that's what he's talking about when they nationalized all the oil refineries, and I believe it was other businesses that were owned partially by Americans, like American Fruit Company or something like that, or United Fruit Company, which was a front for the CIA. Trump argued that the regime of Venezuelan President Maduro, whom he finds to be an illegitimate leader, is using oil from stolen oil fields to finance themselves, drug, terrorism, human trafficking, murder, and kidnapping. The refineries around Houston are designed to handle the heavy oil from Venezuela. For the theft of our assets and many other reasons, including terrorism, drug smuggling, and human trafficking, the Venezuelan regime has been designated a foreign terrorist organization. Wow. That's crazy. Therefore, today I'm ordering a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going into and out of Venezuela. A ship has no flag nor insurance. Who will pay when a ship spills or crashes? No insurance. Yes, take ownership and sell. U.S. has enough oil to supply itself. Yeah, they do, but here's the thing. Why would we want to use our oil that when everyone else runs out, we want to have ours? We want to be the last one with any oil, right? Right? But our oil companies sell it to OPEC for profits. Got to keep the stock market happy. The illegal aliens and criminals that Maduro regime has sent to the United States during the weak and inept Biden administration are being returned to Venezuela at a rapid pace. America will not allow criminals, terrorists, and other countries to rob, threaten, or harm our nation. And likewise, we will not allow a hostile regime to take our oil, land, or any other asset, all of which must be returned to the United States immediately. Correct, we have some that are designated for that specific oil, but they are currently running full production with. We would have to sell it because we aren't able to refine it without more refineries. Well, we need more refineries. We actually do need more refineries. We should be opening more refineries. We haven't built a refinery since the 70s. Which ships are sanctioned? Any of them carrying oil. Keep a list of all the things that demon rats oppose Trump on. Then when, if they get in power, see how many laws against all they pass. Spoiler, they won't. The decision came shortly after the U.S. seized an oil tanker off Venezuela's coast last week, in addition to the buildup of military forces in the area. For multiple years, the oil tanker has been sanctioned by the United States due to its involvement in illicit oil shipping networks supporting foreign terrorist organizations. Attorney General Pam Bondi said at the time, posting a video of the operation, this seizure completely off the coast of Venezuela was conducted safely and securely, and our investigation alongside the Department of Homeland Security to prevent the transportation of sanctioned oil continues. Unless nuclear or steam, all ships carry oil. These Morons down there can't handle the work required to produce oil they have. Sell our stuff to other countries, shorting the product and jack up the price what's left to us. Yeah, to kill two birds with one stone. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, that's what they do. Like, they take oil. Like, we import oil other places instead of just transporting it. Like, we send oil out of Alaska and the West Coast to China instead of here, and then we take oil from other places and bring it in on the East Coast from like the Middle East. I don't know, man. I don't get it. The vessel called the Skipper secretly ferries oil in defiance of sanctions and was part of an armada of roughly 1,000 tankers, so-called ghost ships, that moves oil from sanctioned countries like Russia, Iran, and Venezuela while sailing under foreign flags. In a statement on Tuesday, the Venezuelan government accused Trump of violating international law, free trade, and the principle of free navigation with a reckless and grave threat. On his social media, he assumes that Venezuela's oil, land, and mineral wealth are his property. Consequently, he demands that Venezuela immediately hand over all its riches. The President of the United States intends to impose, in an utterly irrational manner, a supposed naval blockade on Venezuela with the aim of stealing the wealth that belongs to our nation. Too big to rig for the midterms. That would be nice. You thought Chevron was Venezuela as well, but according to WikiLeaks, it's American from the founding. I thought it was Citgo, if I'm not mistaken. Citgo. And I think it was Gulf, and then it changed after the expropriation by Venezuela. But I think, I don't know. According to the statement, Maduro's administration will denounce the situation before the United Nations. Trump has been ramping up military opposition to Venezuela since September, when the Pentagon launched a campaign attacking alleged drug smuggling vessels in the Caribbean Sea and the Eastern Pacific Ocean. Since then, at least 25 deadly strikes have been carried out on offending boats, killing nearly 100 people. Citgo is Venezuela? Okay. Though Gulf oil maybe, but also not Venezuelan. Citgo looking it up. Trump has teased around Thanksgiving holiday that military action will begin on land in Venezuela as well very soon. Why is autocorrect so bad tonight? I don't know. Oil is converted to petrodollars bought and sold worldwide. U.S. dollars props up our dollar. Yeah. President Trump's chief of staff, Suvi Wiles, believes that this goal is to wear down the authoritarian leader. In Vanity Fair interview, she said, President wants to keep on blowing up boats until Maduro cries uncle. Correction, the spelling of the title has been corrected. Okay. Stay tuned. Stay informed. All right. And this New York Post, it says Trump orders blockade of oil tankers from foreign terrorist organization. Demands regime cede oil and land. And he also said that he's not ruling out war with Venezuela. The president was asked about the prospect of conflict with the South American country in a new interview. President Trump said on December 18th that he isn't ruling out the possibility of a war with Venezuela amid U.S. economic and military pressure on the country. I don't rule it out, no. Well, it'd be crazy to rule it out. I mean, kind of at war with them now. I mean, we're blowing shit up. It kind of means we're at war. That's usually what blowing shit up means, is you're at war. It should be a lesson to all drug runners. Yeah. Trump never limits his options. When pressed about whether his government's campaign targeting Venezuela will lead to war, he responded, "I don't discuss it." That's right. None your business. None your business. Earlier this week, Trump said that he ordered the U.S. military to instigate a blockade of Venezuelan oil tankers coming out about a week after they seized a tanker near the country. Officials said the tanker was engaged in business with foreign terrorist organizations linked to the Iranian regime. Citgo offered American people free home heating oil as a Chavez PR campaign from 2005 to 2009. Wow. Trump was also asked whether more tankers could be seized. It depends. If they're foolish enough to be sailing along, or then they'll be sailing along back into one of our harbors. Oof. Oof. Oh, Lisa comes in with $2. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. With that now means that we are just $5 away from an extra hour of show, people. Just $5. Just five measly old dollars. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. Citgo is one, sorta. It was owned by PDVSA, a Venezuelan state-owned company. For months, the U.S. military has launched strikes on boats that officials say are carrying drugs into the United States. Yep. And the Pentagon also positioned its largest aircraft carrier group, the Gerald Ford, near Latin America earlier this year. You won, Jim? Well, thank you, Duck Fat. And then Guar. Trump also previously said the U.S. land strikes on a South American country would begin soon. He told NBC that Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro knows exactly what I want, and he knows better than anybody, but did not elaborate. Trump was responding to a question about whether the administration is trying to oust Maduro from power. Maduro has alleged that the U.S. actions are aimed at overthrowing him and gaining control of the OPEC nations' oil reserves, which are the world's largest crude reserves. Speaking to CNN last month, Maduro was asked whether he had a message for Trump. Yes, peace. Yes, peace. He said in English. He's going to get peace. He's going to get a piece of this. He's going to get a piece of that. Going to get a wiffle ball bet. So he's on the run. The cops got his gun. And right about now, it's time to have some fun. The Trump administration informed Congress in October that the United States is in armed conflict with drug cartels, saying Maduro plays a major role in supplying illegal drugs that kill Americans, which Maduro has denied. Oh, we should just take his word for it. The U.S. State Department in November declared Venezuela's Cartel de las Solas as a foreign terrorist organization, asserting that Maduro has effectively served as the head of the network. U.S. DOJ charged Maduro with narco-terrorism offenses in 2020 during Trump's first term as president. Oh, look at this.
Tactical assessment. Red Chinese victory. Impossible. America will never fall to communist invasion. Communism is the very definition of failure.
Thank you, Richard, for the 5. And with that 5, we got our first additional hour of the show, folks. Yeah, cheers, yeah. So that means we are now $100 away from a second additional hour of the show. Do you guys hear my typing anymore? Because I think I fixed the gate. They call it the gate to make it so that you don't hear my typing anymore unless I'm talking while I'm typing. You shouldn't hear it. It says Timothy Mellon. Thank you, Richard, very much. Timothy Mellon, a Mellon family heir and major Republican donor, has expressed views critical of the Venezuelan government and its impact on migration. Well, I'm sure he's mad about his money, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't they own some of the stuff that was seized? Yeah. Awesome to see you, Duck Fat. Great to see you. Thanks, Richard. Yes, thank you. Time to keep working, Jim. Donata, thank you. Thank you. Saxon Rainey's here, too. What's up? Great to see you. The home heating oil was common in eastern seaboard states and Appalachia. Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was never a problem, Jim. Okay. I'm pretty sure Pretty sure that it's still home heating oil is still used. They have oil tanks and stuff like that in like New England and everything like that. They still have like trucks that come and they fill tanks. They have boilers that boil using the home heating oil. They boil water and they have like radiators and like stuff like that. I think I could be wrong though. Mellon owned Gulf. Okay, isn't that the same guy who gave the money to troops' salaries? No, that's someone else. Is it? Wait, I know two people gave money for. Oh, maybe this was the guy who gave the money for salaries. I was thinking of something else. I was thinking about the Trump accounts. Yes, you hear that mechanical keyboard sound. Okay. I thought I had it pad the bottom of the keyboard. I thought I had the gate fixed. I'll try something else. Trump released his national security strategy earlier this month, saying that the United States is aiming to revive the 19th century Monroe Doctrine. There you go. Which declared the Western Hemisphere to be Washington's zone of influence. The Trump administration has sought to deport or terminate the status of hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants of Venezuelan origin who are currently residing in the United States. Get them all out. Get them all out. Get them all out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, steam heating systems use oil. Okay. December 16th, Trump said that Venezuela is facing a U.S. blockade and its government has been designated a terrorist organization. For the theft of our assets and many other reasons, including terrorism, drug smuggling, and human trafficking, the Venezuelan regime has been designated a foreign terrorist organization. He said in a post on Truth Social that, therefore, today I am ordering a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going into and out of Venezuela. Just sold a house in western Wisconsin with fuel oil for an air furnace. Wow. We had that type of heat when I was little. They had a new kind of key where it works with Hall sensors and magnets. Okay. No mechanical switches. Okay. There used to be coal doors on houses. They used to have like where they would come and drop off coal for houses in Chicago. And I believe they also had fuel oil for some time too. Some places had fuel oil. But I mean, I've seen like the whole purpose of for the alleys was what I was told, that the reason they have the alleys was for the coal chutes. They would come with the coal trucks and put the coal chutes and coal bins and stuff that would go into the basement and stuff like that. Yes, $130 million donated by Mellon family for salaries. Well, that's awesome. What a hero. He's a hero. Trump says war with Venezuela remains possible. Yep, you had one in Boston. Coal chute was fun for kids. Yeah. Trump says he's not ruling out war with Venezuela. We got this. Operation Southern Spear is still winning. U.S. military strike kills 5 more drug traffickers. $130 million will get you a decent U.S. naval blockade. Seems that way. 5 million homes still use home heating oil. I think what Obama was trying to do is trying to force all those people to change from the home heating oil to electric, like electric baseboard heat and stuff like that, which is wildly expensive in a cold area. I mean, it's okay to have like a supplemental electric heat. Like if you have something, you just want a room you want to put, but as far as like heating your whole house, electric heat is like the worst thing you can do. It's uber non-efficient. Like you lose so much. You're wasting so much because basically it's just like giant resistors that are heating up. Like that's it. You're just like totally wasteful. Totally wasteful electric heat. Not good for any place where it's actually cold. Like in Florida, we have a lot of like electric heat coils. Yeah, electricity is way overpriced. Yeah, way overpriced. Yeah, it's because they started getting rid of all the coal plants, get rid of nuclear, and they went to natural gas, and then we started selling natural gas overseas, and so it caused our natural gas prices to go up. My grandmother had a coal furnace and coal delivered to the coal bin in the basement. Had to feed the furnace all night long. I heat with wood now. Awesome. Because everything in America is artificially priced. 0 point energy, baby. I hope so. So Southern Command on Thursday night revealed it carried out new kinetic strikes against two drug trafficking vessels as part of Operation Southern Spear. Southern Spear. Carter encouraged all electric homes on Obama. No. Obama did it too. I'm talking about just now, just recently. All happened. Part of the old, it was like, I think, look it up. It was now, like they started pushing it. It's part of the whole climate change thing. They started pushing, go electric because it's clean, because you can use solar panels. Yeah. Late Thursday night announcements against drug traffickers marks the third of its kind this week. As with all previous strikes, Southcom shared footage of the December 18th operation and informed that it was carried out at the direction of Secretary Pete Hegseth. Yeah. Wear wool. I think that's what Carter recommended. Tell people to put on a sweater and told people to turn their thermostat down. Operation Schumer. If they had 0 point energy, we'd hide it and tell how much it cost to maintenance. Yeah, probably. Yeah, my house is all electric too. That's all we have. There are. If you're near, you can get like a buried propane tank if you want propane for some stuff, or you could get like certain areas down here you can get natural gas. But some areas you can get natural gas, but it's not like rampant. The two struck vessels were operated by the designated terrorist organization Open International Waters, engaged in narco trafficking operations. Isn't New York getting rid of natural gas in homes? They're talking about it. They don't want it there anymore. They don't want, in any new built homes, they don't want natural gas hookups at all. Sorry. Intelligence confirmed the vessels were transiting along a known narco-trafficking routes in the Eastern Pacific and were engaged in narco-trafficking operations. Kelly has Eric Swalwell for gas. I hate the base rate they have for water and electric, and even if you use none, they get paid. Yeah. Well, what are you supposed to do about that? I don't know. What are you supposed to do about that? Anyone know? Says a total of 5 male narco terrorists were killed during these actions. Three in the first vessel and 2 in the second. No military forces were harmed. No U.S. military forces were harmed. You filled up the truck today. It's down to $3.10 a gallon if you get it from the Indians, the feather type, not the dots. Rodney and Adam Schiff. Says Xcel Energy wants to remove all natural gas from homes starting in Denver. Sounds like not just new homes. Wow. You have natural gas and a fireplace and love it. It says Handy Danny says 254 in northern New Jersey. California started the multi-tiered kilowatt hours on electric. The more you use, the higher it went. Yeah. I think they do that in a lot of places as far as like if during peak times, during peak times when it's more usage, they charge a lot more. That's what I think they do in most places. They charge a lot more. A lot more if you in the peak times of usage. December 18th, direction of Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, Joint Task Force Southern Spear conducted lethal kinetic strikes on 2 vehicles operated by the DTO in international waters. Let's see here. Here we go. Here's a boat. Well, that one's only got 2 motors. They must be slacking. Uh-oh. But you can see now if you look in the center of the boat, there's 2 people with 2 motors in the center of the boat here. Those Looks like all drugs to me. See, I wonder what that is they're using because it looks like it was. That looked different than a missile to me. That looked more like a shelling. It's a magic boat. Magic boat. It disappears. Magic boat. Washington is trying to outlaw natural gas too, which is crazy because the U.S. has a metric buttload of natural gas. Like a sea whiz? That's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if it was you think it was a plane with a, okay. Hank says, anyway, good peoples, I'm out of here. Talk to you later. Thanks, Jim. No problem. Thanks for being here. Maybe an A-10, something like that. Maybe it was a plane with like some kind of cannon, like an autocannon, 20 millimeter autocannon, 30 millimeter autocannon, something like that. That's what it looked like. 'Cause it looked like it went across the multiple impacts across the water. So maybe a plane or a helicopter. I don't know. Night, Hank. Good night, Hank. Good night, Hank. It's just family men fishing. Yeah. That's all. They're just fishing. What you doing? Just out fishing. What are you fishing for? Square groupers. Just out fishing for some square groupers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Play it again. You missed it. All right, I'll play it again. Just for you, Richard, I'll play it again. Oh, no, let me go back. I want you to see. It's a big explosion, though. I mean, look at how wide it is. Unless it's something that blew up like right above it with like shrapnel exploding, like anti-person, like a cluster bomb or something. That's almost what it looks like. You know what I mean? How? Because it's so wide. The explosion, the field is. Look at how wide the field is. Look at how wide the field is. But it doesn't look like it goes. It doesn't look like it starts on one side and goes to the other. Looks like it's all at once. See, all at once it appears. Doesn't look like it start, and it's not a strafing. It's not a strafing. It's just all at once. So maybe it's something blowing up and sending shrapnel. I don't know. Two things came down vertically. Bella's on alert. Bella barks. Yeah. I wonder if they feel nervous while boating along. Maybe. Oh, my phone just fell. What's wrong, Bella? Someone here? You hear something, girl? Let me fix the camera. Ow. She's awake right now. Bella is awake right now. She's just chilling. Right? Bella, what you doing? First angle boat. Yeah. Do not know we're watching them for manufacturing and loading the transport. Do they think we're just getting lucky finding them? A simple gyro cam can see them from miles away. Yeah. Well, I know we had videos of them loading the boats. They got video of them actually. I see they like your idea of putting the sensor black box on the video, Jim. Did I? Did I put a? Oh, it's a 1 gauge shotgun. Yeah, shrapnel versus body parts. Okay. How can they still get people in the boats? I think what happens, honestly, is I think what they do is well, how should I put this? I think what happens is they just put them up, you know. Hold on. I gotta make some adjustments here. They don't know. They get people that don't know, maybe, or they don't care, or maybe the money is so good they think they can get by. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe they unless they're expired or just some avocados. That's why we can't release the double tap video the way the Dems want. Maybe bot controlled. Maybe it's drones. I don't know. Maybe it's drones. So I guess that's it. It just says U.S. military strikes 2 boats in Eastern Pacific, killing 5 narco terrorists. Maybe their boss threatens them. I think they're like soldiers and don't have much of a choice. It's possible. Cartels have a way of convincing folks to do their bidding. Well, yeah, they take their family and hold their family hostage or something like that, which, you know. You think it will make a difference on a street level? My honest opinion, I don't know. I thought I was reading a lot of stuff saying that the majority of the stuff that's coming in is actually coming from Canada now because of because of all the stuff that's going on that they transferred, and now they're moving things different, you know, bringing it in differently, a different way. Hex is serving up some more black and grouper. Yeah. So I don't know. 3 fatalities, the first vehicle, 2 in the second. So we saw all this. So let me keep moving here. Fox News, same thing. U.S. military strikes narco vessels in the latest strikes in the Eastern Pacific. Then we got this, which I thought was, you know, interesting, because then you got the Trump administration announces fresh sanctions on Maduro's extended family members. So now they want to go to their family. Anybody's the CIA just wants their cut. Yeah. If you were extorted to run drugs, don't you think you would run to a destroyer, not from? Maybe. If he rounds the wide, if it's HE rounds, the wide splashes, parts of it hitting the water. Okay. Increases the price, maybe. It could. Oh, yeah, supply and demand, definitely. Trump administration on Friday announced a fresh batch of sanctions targeting extended family members of the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro amid an ongoing pressure campaign against the embattled leader. The Treasury Department said it was imposing sanctions on several relatives of Maduro's nephew, Carlos Eric Malpica Flores, and family members of the Panamanian businessman Ramon Calatero. Where are you going, Bella? What are you doing? Today, Treasury sanctioned individuals who are propping up Nicolas Maduro's rogue narco state, and we will not allow Venezuela to continue flooding our nation with deadly drugs, Scott Bessent said in a statement. Maduro and his criminal accomplices threaten the hemisphere's peace and stability. Peace and stability. That's what they're saying. That's what they're calling it, peace and stability. I'm always, hey, KPT's here. What's up? Great to see you. Always great to see you. Thanks for being here. So the Treasury Department said it's imposing sanctions on 5 family members of Malpica Flores, including his mother, his father, his sister, his wife, and his adult daughter. The department announced sanctions on Malpica Flores last week. In addition, the administration said it's sanctioning Roberto Carretero Napolitano and Vicente Luis Carretero Napolitano, who are connected to Ramon Carretero, the Panamanian businessman who engaged extensively in transactions with the Maduro regime, the Trump administration said. Trump and his team have taken a slew of actions in recent months that have escalated tensions with Venezuela and with Maduro in particular, including repositioning military assets in the region, striking alleged drug boats in the Caribbean, imposing sanctions, and seizing an oil vessel off the coast of Venezuela. Trump told NBC News in an interview late Thursday that he would not rule out war with Venezuela. Yeah. Check on Bella. Yeah, she walked over here for some reason. I don't know what she's doing. Does she need to go out? She might need to go out, but I'm gonna have to give it a minute here. So that's that story. All right. So Trump administration targets Maduro's inner circle family in a major narco state crackdown. All right. So let me do this. Let me do this. Do this. Do this. Do this.
Meanwhile, tonight, President Trump will address the nation live from the Oval Office.
He's expected to talk about his administration's second-term accomplishments so far and lay out his priorities for 2026 and beyond.
Rich Edson joins us live from the White House. Hey, Rich.
Hey, good morning, Lawrence, Ainsley, and Brian. Well, President Trump scheduled to speak 9 p.m. tonight from the diplomatic reception room here at the White House. The president previewed that speech saying, quote, "I look forward to seeing you then. It's been a great year for our country, and the best is yet to come." It's a Sinatra classic, perhaps the theme of the speech. The White House press secretary says the president will highlight his accomplishments over the past year: a secure border, lower inflation than its peak under the Biden administration, and reduced gas prices. She says the president may also tease some policies coming in the new year. Now, the president scheduled this address as prices do remain high, and polls show more Americans are disapproving of the White House handling of the economy, inflation, and trade. But yesterday, Vice President J.D. Vance touted the Trump economy in Pennsylvania.
The average American family has gained about $1,000 of take-home pay. You are going to have middle-class Americans, middle-class Pennsylvanians, some of the best tax season in 2026 that you've ever had. More money in your pocket because you've got a president and a Congress that are fighting for you for a change, and that's exactly what it should be.
Abroad, more developments on Venezuela. Last week, the U.S. seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. Well, the president is now escalating that campaign against the Maduro regime there. He wrote, quote, "I am ordering a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going into and out of Venezuela. America will not allow criminals, terrorists, or other countries to rob, threaten, or harm our nation, and likewise will not allow a hostile regime to take our oil, land, or any other assets." In just a few hours today here at the White House, the president will go to Dover Air Force Base, where he will attend the dignified transfer of those 2 Iowa National Guardsmen who were killed in Syria over the weekend. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Rich.
All right, just give me 1 second here. I'm going to play a video so I can take Bella out. This should be good enough. Hold on. So, a Biden judge gave Justice Kavanaugh's would-be assassin less time than Jay Sixers received for trespassing. This is nuts, right? Maryland U.S. District Judge Deborah Boardman, and you might think it's Deborah, but she pronounces it Deborah. A Biden appointee is a national disgrace. She only sentenced 8 years instead of 30. Someone who attempted to murder Justice Kavanaugh and his family in their home. Make no mistake, today's Democrats want conservatives killed. Deborah Boardman, just another Democrat activist posing as a judge. Being of Palestinian descent on her mother's side, Judge Boardman was fascinated with issues related to the Middle East. Also, to use her talents to solve real-world problems and fight for social justice. That's who she is. And just remember this, Democrat judges gave a shorter sentence to a man who attempted to murder a Supreme Court justice than a woman who disputed the 2020 election. That's right, the woman who said, hey, there's a problem with the 2020 election, Tina Peters, she took some, you have to correct this, looking rather large and in charge. That's better. Peters, who said that there was a problem with the election and took a copy of the stuff just so they could keep track of everything and there wouldn't be any mistakes and they didn't lose any information. She got 9 years. Sorry. So Pam Bondi says the attempted assassination of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh was a disgusting attack against our entire judicial system by a profoundly disturbed individual. The Justice Department will be appealing the woefully insufficient sentence imposed by the district court, which does not reflect the horrific facts of this case. You were curious how they came to that? Yeah. So if you do the math, that's what they're, that's supposed to be what Todd Blanche says, this sentence was substantively unreasonable. An assassination plot against Supreme Court justice strikes at the heart of our republic, as Pam Bondi stated. We will appeal to correct this miscarriage of justice and defend the rule of law. This person says she's just another Democrat activist. Oh, we saw this poisoning as a judge. We saw this. The Boardman also cited President Trump's executive order from January 20th, which states that transgender inmates must be incarcerated in prisons that correspond with the gender they were assigned with at birth. Because this person just decided, you know, Roski's disclosed in September, attorneys disclosed in September that he is transgender. I'm not gonna say she because it's not a she. Sorry, it's not. You don't get to pull that shit sentence, go to jail and then go, oh, I'm a woman now, so send me to a woman's prison. Here's the story. Justin would-be assassin sentenced to only 8 years in prison amid claims of transgender struggles. So yeah, so that's what they listed as the social justice and the transgender struggles. Roski, who now is Sophie and uses female pronouns, was sentenced to 97 months, roughly 8 years, in federal prison on Friday for attempted murder of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. So 30 years what it's supposed to be. 30-year sentence is what it's supposed to be. The sentence handed down by U.S. District Judge Deborah Boardman, a Biden appointee, comes despite prosecutors pushing for at least 30 years. Roski, then 26, traveled from California to Maryland armed with a Glock pistol, a tactical knife, zip ties, and other, intending to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh in retaliation for the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Roski was arrested outside the justice's home after calling 911 on himself, expressing suicidal thoughts. He pleaded guilty in April to attempted murder charges. During the proceedings, defense attorneys argued for a reduced sentence, citing Roski's mental health struggles, including depression and gender dysphoria. Says he grew up as a Christian conservative in a Christian conservative family. He battled with mental health issues during the COVID-19 pandemic, stopped therapy and medication, and began questioning his gender. Letters to the judge from family members highlighted how Roski's closeted transgender identity contributed to the breakdown and expressed concern about him being able to transition to a woman while in prison. So yeah, we're going to have to pay for this prison? Seriously? I don't fucking think so. I mean, yeah, I don't think so. Roski letter apologizing for his assassination plot. I am very sorry for contributing to a trend of political violence in American politics. I don't know if his was a trend. I think he's a trend. He was raised by conservative Christian parents who loved me and still love me. When Dobbs came around, I was in the closet and had not been taking medicine or going to therapy for 2 years. When the draft leaked, my self-esteem was at rock bottom, along with my hope for the future. So his relatives plead for leniency because he's transgender. Prosecutors, however, emphasized the gravity of the politically motivated attack, pointing to his online post discussing the potential impact of killing a justice and preparation for the act. They sought a 30-year sentence under federal guidelines, which recommends 30 years to life for such crimes. With good behavior, Roski could be out of prison in as little as 4 years. 4 years. But they sentenced those to 20 years and 30 years for not even going into the Capitol. Remember? Judge Boardman sentenced Rosie to 97 months prison, which is what his lawyers asked for. Sentencing guidelines called for 30, but she undid most of the terrorism enhancement. He could be out in 4 years with good behavior. Judge Boardman, who faced criticism for past rulings, including one against parents seeking to opt out of LGBTQ-themed school lessons, later reversed by the Supreme Court, opted for a lighter penalty. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi said she will appeal the woefully insufficient sentence. The attempted assassination of a Supreme Court justice was a disgusting attack against our entire judicial system by a profoundly disturbed individual. The Justice Department will be appealing this woefully insufficient sentence imposed by the district court, which does not reflect the horrific facts of this case. That's from Cassandra McDonald over there. Let's see, the Daily Wire said transgender man who planned to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh gets off easy with just 8 years. They asked for a lenient sentence. That's crazy, right? That's just crazy, right? 8 years for attempting to kill. How about those Seahawks last night? Greatest game I ever witnessed. Well, besides Miami Dolphins Super Bowl win to complete the perfect season. I don't really follow football very much, Rich, but I heard that Phillip Rivers came back in at 45. Jim eating ASMR. No, I'm not eating. Phillip Rivers came back and he's playing for the Colts now at 45 or something. That's crazy, isn't it? That's just crazy. Wow, we got this that I thought was very interesting. Let's see. It says the FBI infiltrates an extremist Christian group. Let's see.
Just remember who's in charge.
Want to see me, sir?
Yes, come in, Agent Johnson. Have a seat. It's my understanding that you successfully infiltrated the domestic extremist terror cell.
Affirmative, sir. It was one of the most harrowing assignments of my storied career. I've never seen anything like it. Frankly, it was terrifying.
Why don't you go ahead and debrief me on your findings on Operation Steeple?
I arrived at the terrorist group's secret base of operations at approximately 1000 hours. Even before I went inside, it was clear that their goal was to spread their radical ideology of hatred. The moment I stepped inside, a member of the terrorist cell frisked me for weapons. They then attempted to poison me. Likely some sort of cultic mind control Kool-Aid situation. I took note of the room. Extremist literature was being sold. Acquired some of it for our investigation.
Talking vegetables. My goodness, or even targeting children. I'll review this later, Johnson. Go ahead.
I didn't have much time. The first terrorist quickly grabbed me, forced me to sit in a seat in the terrorist compound, likely a spot for new recruits. This terrorist codename was Usher.
Usher? Like the singer?
Appears to be a code. Despite my best efforts, I couldn't crack it. Well, I'm stumped.
Continue.
Well, as you know, most terrorist groups have mantras or slogans they use to instill hatred, violence, and their extreme beliefs in their recruits. In this meeting, they sang horrifying incantations. They chanted about slaying lambs, lots of blood, death. Repeated that some mysterious father figure was good, like extra good. Good, they kept saying over and over, until everyone was hypnotized. Completely brainwashed into the extremist group's radical beliefs.
So how are you able to avoid being hypnotized?
Thinking on my feet, I grabbed 2 small pencils conveniently located in the seat back in front of me and jammed them into my ears.
Good field work.
Next, I witnessed money laundering. Some sort of cultic disc was passed around as the people laundered cash into it. Then we were instructed to take a minute.
We're watching the FBI infiltrating churches in America. This is what they did when they were spying on the churches. This is the FBI. It's a documentary about how the FBI spied on churches.
To greet your neighbor. Luckily, I had prepared for this, and I knew the secret greeting so as not to be exposed as a spy. Then, We hit pay dirt. The head of the organization announced all their upcoming terror attacks. Something called a bunko night, a food drive, and even something codenamed a potluck.
I don't even know what that is, but it sounds awful.
I haven't even told you the most terrifying part. The terrorist leader then gave the extremists their marching orders, reading from some sort of manifesto. He used violent code words and encrypted dog whistles, saying things like, God so loved the world, and if you simply accept Christ into your hearts, you will be forgiven of your sins.
This is worse than 9/11. God, I hate my job. Well, good work, Johnson. Continue to work undercover and dig deeper into this extremist terrorist group.
Yes, sir.
We're already gathering intel on another bloodthirsty, savage group of domestic terrorists. That'll be your next assignment.
What would that be, sir?
Have you ever heard of a homeschool co-op?
Anyway, so someone said that to me. I thought it was funny. I wanted to play it. I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to edit it out, but because I'm sure they're gonna want to claim. So Trump announces Patriot Games for U.S. 250th anniversary. 2 high school athletes from each state to compete. Must be the Babylon Bee. Yes. The sad part is they're pretty spot on. They're even using a lot of this in Canada to justify banning public use of certain Bible verses. You'd think it was fake, but look into it. Yeah. Look at what they're saying about the stuff in Australia. They're talking about going after the right wing, going after right wing extremists because of the, Bondi attack and, Hunger Games. Here we come. Hey, Lady Bama, what's up? Lady Bama's here. What's up? I didn't see it. There she is. Yeah, finally made it. Well, always. Yeah, Babylon Bee production. Yeah, somebody said, I think it was SG Farmer said it to me earlier. I thought it was funny. So what do you guys think about this? Yeah, even the Church of England started printing gender-neutral Bibles. Can't make the trolls happy. They're trolls. 2 high school students from each state to compete. Now, I want everyone to point out that Patriot Games. This is why when people talk about we live in a simulation, sometimes I go, yes, it was satire, guys. Babylon Bee. Yes, it was. But sometimes life is stranger than fiction. All right, because here we go. Ready, Richard? Patriot Games, Trump announces. Now, Patriot Games was the Tom Clancy book and also a movie with Harrison Ford. All right? Remember? Where he goes and Sean Bean is in it and he's a bad guy and Tom Clancy or Jack Ryan protects and saves the prince or some lord in England or something like that. Okay? The next book and next movie was called Clear and Present Danger. All right? Clear and Present Danger, which is what we have right now going on in Venezuela with the drug cartels. Clear and Present Danger. That movie. All right? And then, everyone be clear on this, the next book after that, it's called The Sum of All Fears. So just remember, it's over where they blew up a bomb. You like that movie. One of the books they didn't make it to a movie called Dead of Honor, where they crash planes into the Pentagon. What is going on? And there was another one called The Bear and the Dragon. Oh my God. Which is really good. It's about China attacking Russia. And then there was one about Greater Persia. I think it was called Teeth of the Tiger or Executive Decision. Executive Decision. Was Executive Decision before Dead of Honor? No, I think Executive Decision was after Dead of Honor. But anyway. You never saw Some of All Fears but loved the book? Well, don't watch the movie because it's all messed up. It's all messed up. Bear and the Dragon was excellent. Bear and the Dragon is an excellent book. Everyone should read that. But Some of All Fear, read the book. Don't watch the movie because they got Ben Affleck in it, which he does all right, but they change it all around. And instead of making an Islamic terrorist, they make it a white supremacist terrorist. Of course, white nationalist, white supremacist. That's what they did for the movie. Instead of, it was actually in the book. It was actually a one of these, native Indian, like Indian native groups that wants to reclaim the United States from the, we're all on stolen land people. Kind of hear these people running around chanting right now, along with Muslim terrorists to try to set off a bomb and ended up killing the head of the CIA or something like that, or Jack Ryan's boss, and type of thing. But anyway, you read about the changes. That's why you stuck to the book. Yeah, I didn't like it anyway. So, Patriot Games event next year will ask for 2 top high school athletes. I don't know why I went down the Durka instead of the Durka Durkas. Yeah, it was Durka Durkas along with an native Indian guy that was part of like a thing, a group that wanted to, basically go to war with the U.S. The books are always better than the movies, Jim. No, I know. I have all the books right there. All of them. The president announced the Patriot Games event will launch Freedom 250. Yes, life imitates art. Well, I'm just wondering whatever. And an organization that will plan and lead efforts to commemorate the nation's 250th anniversary. One of the events that will be featured as part of the festivities will be what Trump called the first ever Patriot Games, an unprecedented 4-day athletic event featuring the greatest high school athletes. 1 young man, 1 young woman, 1 from each state and territory. Patriot Games will reportedly take place in autumn 2026. Other events planned for 2026 include the Great American State Fair that will feature exhibits from all 50 states on the National Mall from June 25th to July 10th. An Independence Day celebration that will include fireworks and a military flyover, and an Ultimate Fighting Championship event that will take place at the White House on June 14th. Trump said in a video announcing the Patriot Games that people would have a good time. Already, we've had a big celebration to commemorate the 250th birthdays of the Army, the Navy, United States Marines, but there's much, much more to come. It'll be an unprecedented 4-day athletic event featuring the greatest high school athletes, 1 young man and 1 young woman from each state and territory. But I promise there will be no men playing in women's sports. You had to throw that in. I know I kind of drifted off topic talking about Tom Clancy stuff, but when it comes, like when I see things that like this, when I call it Patriot Games, it kind of makes me go, what is going on? UFC event will celebrate the 250th anniversary. Trump reveals Patriot Games for high school athletes as part of the 250th anniversary. Not all books are better. Die Hard was better than its book. Did you see Patriot Dave's or Search for Pink October? Sadly, not a proper parody. No, I never seen Search for Pink October. You just put your tinfoil hat on for a minute. Just for a minute. I just put it on for a second just to say, I don't know. Patriot Dames. Okay. No, those are proud. Sound like they might be adult movies. President Trump announced Thursday a newly minted Patriot Games with first of its kind athletic event spanning across 4 days and featuring 1 young man and 1 young woman for each state and territory. I just realized I didn't reset the goal. I have to reset the goal for 20 super chats for 1 hour. Let me do this. We got 130 people watching, only 90 likes. It'd be nice if the other 40 people would actually hit that like button and give me a like while I fix this goal for another hour here. And, 20 super chats, $5 or more. I believe we are $100 away from the additional hour, but maybe I'm wrong. We are currently $100 away from a second additional hour. Well, there we go. We got 1 hour, $100. If We want another hour. RFK and Dr. Oz are taking care of the trans issue. Well, good. Good to know. Moi? Watch such material? I'm just saying, like, isn't that just like, isn't that like hunting for Ryan's privates or something like that? The hunt for Ryan's privates or something like that? Saving Ryan's privates or something? So they're putting high school kids in the octagon? No. They're going to have a competition, probably like, like running, jumping, different competition. The octagon thing is completely different. So that's completely different. This just says, Trump announces how America will celebrate its 250th birthday. He's going to celebrate it by the same way that Bilbo Baggins celebrated his 111th birthday. President Trump revealed the nation's capital will celebrate the birthday. It'll be a celebration in America like no other, honoring the nation in all its glory. It'll be a public-private partnership called Freedom 250. With a new patriotism, pride, and pioneering spirit. Likely it'll be like no time you've ever had in your lives before. All right, let's hear Trump talk.
In my campaign for president, I pledged to give America the most spectacular birthday party the world has ever seen for America's 250th anniversary on July 4th next year. Already we've had big celebrations to commemorate the 250th birthdays of the Army, the Navy, and the United States Marines, but there is much more to come. We're going to have a good time. As we ring in 2026, Americans across the nation will see the iconic Washington Monument illuminated with festive birthday lights to honor the start of this historic anniversary year. Then from June 25th to July 10th of next year, we will host the Great American State Fair on the National Mall, featuring pavilions from all 50 states, highlighting breathtaking innovations and celebrating America's exceptional history and culture. Frankly, you'll never see anything like it, and you'll never see anything like it again. In the fall, we will host the first ever Patriot Games, an unprecedented 4-day athletic event featuring the greatest high school athletes, one young man and one young woman from each state and territory. But I promise there will be no men playing in women's sports. You're not going to see that. You'll see everything but that. As I first announced in 2020, we will build the National Garden of American Heroes featuring statues of all-time greatest Americans, and we will build a triumphal arc as we celebrate 250 years of American freedom. We are the only major city. We are the only major capital. We are the only major place without a triumphal arc, a beautiful triumphal arc, one like in Paris where they have the beautiful arc in Paris. They call it the Arc de Triomphe. And we're going to have one in Washington, D.C. very soon. Construction will start in the very near future. And next spring, we will host a major prayer event on the National Mall to rededicate our country as one nation under God. We're not changing that. There are a lot of people who would like to see it. It'll never happen. And on Flag Day, we will have a one-of-a-kind UFC event here at the White House. It'll be the greatest champion fighters in the world, all fighting that same night. The great Dana White is hosting, and it's going to be something special. But all of this is just a beginning. 2026 will be a celebration of America like no other, honoring our nation in all of its glory. To help carry out these exciting plans, we have created a new public-private partnership. It's called Freedom 250. Working with states, companies, and organizations across the country, we will renew the patriotism, pride, and pioneering spirit of America and lay the groundwork for the next 250 years of independence and freedom. This will be a time like you've never had in your lives. America 250. Thank you. I love you all.
Yay. Sounds great, doesn't it? Sorry. I had to take that call. Trump said the Washington Monument will be lit up with festive birthday lights to honor the thing. So I think they're going to build, it sounds like an arch. Yeah, they had the plans to build one, Arc de Triomphe, like in Paris. Yeah, they had one. They had one. They had one that they were planning on building. They just never got around to it. But I don't know. Many of these arches will look like the McDonald's double arches. No, it's supposed to be like a concrete thing that you're supposed to drive to. They had the plans for it. I think it's supposed to be like the Monroe. What are you doing? Lay down. What are you doing? Where are you going? Lay down. What's going on? Come on. What do you need? Water? Hold on. Yeah. 1 second. This will just take 1 second. Sorry. Ugh. All right. I had to let her out so she could go get some water. Clinton in a hot tub with a black square. All right, I'm pulling them up. Dang, Jim, it was a joke in honor of Trump's fry-making career. Okay. There's a lot of Clinton in this batch. Bella needs a drink. Yeah, I just opened the door. She'll go get a drink. She'll come back in and I'll shut the door. Let me see. How many? Is there? What are you putting up? Are those new ones? I think that's. No, I already got that one. You already gave me that one. You already gave me the Clinton one with the black square, I believe. So here, then, just so everyone knows, this is someone's sending me. They're releasing files from the. I don't know who this is from the Epstein stuff that's being released. There's Bill Clinton with somebody. Who is that? I wonder. But they got a black square over him. Wow. And then here's Clinton in a hot tub with a black square over somebody's face. Now I wonder where these were taken. Were these taken from the island? Is this at the island? And it kind of looks kind of islandy where he's at. Looks rather islandy to me. They claim he was never on the island, but I don't know if I believe that now after seeing these photos. Seems odd, right? He said he just dropped tonight. Yeah. So very interesting. Oh, look at this. Breaking: the first Somali fraudster charged with defrauding American taxpayers through Minnesota's publicly funded autism care program has pleaded guilty.
Asha Hassan, you may remember the name. She was the very first defendant charged with defrauding Minnesota's publicly funded autism care program. We were at the U.S. District Courthouse this morning as she entered her guilty plea on a single count of wire fraud.
We got no comments today. Anything you want to say?
She and her attorneys here would not comment on the case, but I do want to break it down for you. Hassan owned a business here known as Smart Therapy LLC. She pleaded guilty in 2 schemes, not just the autism care or EIDBI program, but also she admitted her role in the massive Feeding Our Future child nutrition fraud. In total, taking in some $14 million in Medicaid funds, another $450,000 supposedly earmarked to feed hungry children. Prosecutors point out she sent hundreds of thousands of dollars out of this country to Kenya to purchase real estate in her own name. Asha Hassan, you may remember.
Wow, that's strange, right? Kenya? They bought property in Kenya. You know who's from Kenya? Barry Soetoro is from Kenya. Just remember that. Just saying. Joe says, yeah, okay, great. Now are they going to put Clinton in jail? No, so who cares? We got one in Missouri, an Arch, that is, and there was a bedroom on a plane for I just noticed I'm in a mood tonight. I'll put the volume down to 10. It's all right, Joe. You're fine, man. You're fine, Joe. You're fine. You're always fine. You're always fine. South Florida. It could be South Florida. It could be Palm Beach Estate. It kind of looked like that. It was either an island or it was Palm Beach. You know, the way that hot tub was with those type of big Venetian tile, I think they're called, right? Or I think it's called Venetian tile. I'm not 100% sure. Like Elon Musk says, even this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is insane. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota now thinks tens of billions have been stolen. Minnesota has become a magnet for fraud, so much so that we have developed a fraud tourism industry, people coming to our state purely to exploit and defraud its programs. Thompson said this is deeply unsettling, and all Minnesotans should understand. No hot tubs on the planes. Yeah. No, I think the point I was trying to make was that they said, like, oh, took some plane rides, but he was never at his house. It's like, clearly he was at dude's house. Clearly he was at dude's house. And then and this is this other thing I wanted to bring up. It says 81% of Somali smelly immigrants households in Minnesota are on welfare. Even after 10 years in the United States, 78% of smelly households are on welfare. I, for one, think the video of the ISIS strikes is too short. What do you mean? I didn't see what video of ISIS strikes. What are you talking about? Welfare rates in Minnesota. Look at this. Native households, smelly immigrant households for greater than 10 years. Look at this. Any welfare. After 10 years, 78% still. Wow. This is crazy, right? And then cash assistance. So 27% get cash assistance. 25% after 10 years still get cash assistance. Food stamps, 54% get food stamps. And after 10 years, 48% are still getting food stamps. Wow. Medicaid, 73% of the smelly immigrants get Medicaid. And then after 10 years, it's 68%. Wow. California fraud will make Minnesota fraud look like small potatoes. Yes. Public servants failed to. CENTCOM released a video of a recent strike in Syria. Oh, I didn't see it. If you want to pull it up, I'll. 37 seconds of schwacking ISIS targets. Okay. All right. I guess since we're in that part of the show, we're doing this. CENTCOM releases footage from ISIS Operation Hawkeye against 70 ISIS targets. U.S. Central Command released footage from Operation Hawkeye strikes against ISIS militant facilities on Friday night. U.S. and Jordanian forces. So the Jordanians, like I always like the Jordanians. Hold on 1 second. Wait, what? Hold on. Sorry. I got to do one thing real quick here. All right. Sorry. So tonight, Jordanian forces, that's good. This is one of 10 operations conducted in Syria. And Iraq since December 13th, the ambush in Syria, which left multiple servicemen. So we did 10 attacks? Hope they would stay true to their word, yeah. Clinton is claiming he never went to the island, but Dan B. said a fellow Secret Service agent refused to continue service with Bill after he went in a plain bedroom with a minor. Yeah, I remember that. Women said they could name names, are watching to see if about 20 wealthy men's names would be released. If they aren't, they say they'll finally tell who they are. Well, they didn't just tell who they are. We'll continue relentless pursuit of terrorists. Following the attack on U.S. partner forces in Syria, the U.S. Central Command commenced Operation Hawkeye strikes. A video released by CENTCOM shows part of the operation. Watch as Gateway put on reported earlier. This is not the beginning of war. It's a declaration of vengeance. It's not the beginning of a war. It's a declaration of vengeance. So we're going to see it. Where's the video? There's no video here. There's no video on what you shared with me, Gundam. There's no video here. Oh, wait. My bad. This doesn't look like a video of any strikes. It's just like a video of planes flying. Okay. You have a blocker or script block? Okay, maybe that's what it is. All right. That's the only video that's there. Let me see. Okay, so this must be it.
The real reason you're stiff after sitting.
You can live a very long time without.
You're not going to believe what this shampoo does to your hair.
Okay, those are some missiles or bombs or something. Yeah, I had a whatever pop-up blocker and ad blocker on, so I had to shut it off. Wow, those are some splashes going on there. Wow, imagine how it must feel to be someone in the middle of the desert and having that happen, come crashing down on you. Wow. This just says U.S. conducts airstrikes in Syria in response to attacks that killed 2 American soldiers. On Friday, U.S. sources struck multiple targets across central Syria. Fighter jets and attack helicopters and HIMARS systems supported by Jordan's F-16s destroyed more than 130 mortar and rockets, more than 70 targets at about 2:15 a.m. Officials framed the strikes as a sharp escalation. Never felt a thing, Jim. Okay. I don't know who that guy is. This is another tab. Anyone know who this is? From the Epstein files? Anyone? Anyone recognize this person? I don't recognize that person. I don't know who that is. Yeah, oh, he says, I don't know who this guy is. Okay, I have no clue who that guy is. So the U.S. Attorney's Office announces new Minnesota fraud charges. The magnitude cannot be overstated. Joseph H. Thompson announced 5 new defendants in the House Stabilization Services Medicaid program and a second in the early intensive development and behavioral for the autism. Is that Sting? Was it Sting? Peter Stroke? No, I don't know. Was it Sting? I don't know if that's Sting. It could be, I guess. Maybe. U.S. Attorney's Office announced new fraud charges in Minnesota on Thursday, December 18th, calling the scope of the problem as it falls under more national scrutiny staggering. The 6 new defendants announced Thursday represent the second wave of charges for 2 state programs. First Assistant U.S. Attorney Joseph H. Thompson announced 5 new defendants in the state's House Stabilization Services Medicaid program for a total of 13 in that program, and a second defendant in the state's early intensive development, which is the autism thing. Just kidding. I only think it looks like him. He's not rich with that Timex on his wrist. Maybe that was his father's Timex. Did you ever think about that? Did you ever think about that? Maybe it's his father's Timex. Maybe it was smuggled out of a Vietnam POW camp by his father's best friend, and his Christopher Walken. You know where I'm going with this? You're starting to get the feeling our whole national debit is a fraud, or debit debt. It's possible. It's possible. Oh, I know who this guy is. You guys know who this is, don't you? This is Lord Richard Branson. And Jeffrey Epstein. No. This could be at his Palm Beach house, or this could be at the island. Who knows? They black out the 2 women's faces, you know. I'm so sick of hearing about these future in America. Yeah. So let's get back to the story. This is an actual story. Thompson said the attorney's office executed a search warrant Thursday morning in Bloomington for another Medicaid program, Integrated Community Support, a service aimed at helping adults with disabilities live independently. The Minnesota Department of Human Services halted payments for ICS on September 26 over credible allegations of fraud. The magnitude cannot be overstated. What we're seeing in Minnesota is not a handful of bad actors committing crimes. It's staggering industrial-scale fraud. It's swamping Minnesota and calling into question everything we know about our state. I spoke in the fall about the iceberg I saw ahead. When I said that, it wasn't hyperbole or rhetoric. It was a warning. Thompson pointed to the 14 state Medicaid programs that the Department of Human Services has deemed high risk with either suspected fraud or confirmed cases of fraud. He said that since 2018, these programs have cost $18 billion, citing Medicare and Medicaid services data. My husband's coal processing job has been extended until March 26, 2026 due to Energy Secretary emergency order. People's need warmth. Yeah. I'm breaking up. For real? What's my sound is breaking up, or? Oh, what's up? Where's Trump at? What's up, Jail Dubs? How's it going? Great to see you. We got word out of Minnesota would not investigate immigrants for much of anything. They ran there to commit fraud, knowing they would be shielded by Dems like Omar and Ellison. Yeah. Better now? 5x5? Okay. It says I got 989 MBS up and 982 MBS down, so I don't know. I'm sure everyone is wondering how much of this $18 billion was fraud. That's not the that's not the $1 million question. That the $18 billion question. He said, the answer is far too much. And the task ahead of all of us is not only figuring out how much of that money was fraud, but figuring out how to put an end to it. Well, here's an idea of how to put an end to it. Stop giving fucking benefits to illegals. Stop it. Stop it. Bella looks tiny. Yeah. When he asked what he meant by significant amount, he said it's about half or more. So he's saying half or more of the 18 billion was fraud. So that's over $9 billion in fraud. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. What's it say? Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? More on the Minnesota fraud. Tim Waltz, DHS say they don't have evidence to suggest fraud could reach $9 billion. Oh, that's what I say. Hey, we don't have evidence. Branson has his own island. A friend of mine spent his honeymoon on it. His friend Bobby Hebert paid for it, quarterback for the Saints and then the Falcons. I meant like in all the Epstein photos, you'd think Trump would be all over the place. Oh, okay. Well, no, they had to get like news clippings of Trump and say that he had news clippings. Epstein had news clippings of Trump with like pageant girls, and they're like, look, here's Trump with pageant girls. The new charges come as the federal government and President Trump have zeroed in on the state following revived claims that stolen funds could have been funneled to the terror group Al-Shabaab. The Department of Homeland Security subsequently launched Operation Metro Surge, an ongoing ICE operation targeting the Twin Cities in the Minnesota Somali community. Thompson commented on the Al-Shabaab claims on Thursday and said his office had no indication that the defendants he's charged were radicalized or seeking to fund Al-Shabaab or other terrorist groups. The U.S. Treasury Department is also investigating the claims. Some money went to Somalia indirectly, and some more may have gotten in the hands of Al-Shabaab, which controls significant parts of Somalia and imposes attacks there. So there's a little more nuance, and there's no indication defendants have been or were sending money to terrorist organizations or supporting terrorist organizations. Thompson said that among the funds in his office had traced, a significant amount was sent to abroad, mostly East Africa, namely Kenya. That's the money that we've traced, most of it, which has been used to purchase real estate in Nairobi. And there's a large, smelly dysphoria there, he said. Fraud tourism. 5 new defendants in the Housing Stabilization Service Program are Anthony Waddell Jefferson, Lester Brown, Hassan Ahmed Hussein, Ahmed Abdusharashid Mohammed, and Kamil Omar Salaf. The second defendant charged in Idli is Abdunjabi Habi Safin Sufin Yusuf. This case involving Brown and Jefferson was flagged by Thompson as particularly interesting because something that he called fraud tourism. So, let me go get the dog. I don't want people saying that I didn't get the dog back. Let me get the dog. Why are you sitting outside the door? And I got the dog back. I had to bribe her with treats to get her to come back in because she was sitting right outside the door. Weird. Hey, y'all, we need to rally or Jim's going to find something else to do when Jim goes off. Well, Jim is like an irritating little brother on a long road trip. What? Why would you say that? How am I irritating little brother? What do you mean by irritating little brother? Oh, wait, because I singing like ba 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 shabba bob. So Jefferson and Brown then returned to Philadelphia and began submitting fraudulent claims through which they obtained more than $3.5 million in fraudulent Medicaid payments from Minnesota. Minnesota. Let me do this. Boom. There we go. There we go, Bella. Now Bella feels better. Sorry. She heard something earlier. She went out and then she just laid by the door. This fraud tourism is new, although we heard of it as investigators. He said the defendants come here not to enjoy our lakes, our beautiful summers, or our warm people. They came here because they knew and understood that Minnesota was a place where taxpayer money can be taken with little risk and few consequences. Holy crap. Senate Minority Leader Mark Johnson from East Grand Forks addressed the charges in a statement on Thursday. Today's news is possibly the most disturbing news we've had so far as it relates to fraud. The systems implemented by DHS was so easily accessed. Two individuals came from Philadelphia to Minnesota for the sole purpose of defrauding Minnesotans. Minnesotans' fraud problem is indeed Minnesotans' fraud problem. Where are we at here? Other states have seen fraud on a similar scale to Minnesota's estimates. On June 30th, the U.S. Department of Justice charged 15 people with $10.6 billion in healthcare fraud under Operation Gold Rush. Holy crap. Minnesota's Feeding Our Future scheme accounted to $250 million, according to federal prosecutors. California had a pandemic-era fraud scheme worth $150 million, and Illinois had a scheme that amounted to nearly $300 million. Thompson said he expects more charges from the housing services thing, and he confirmed that all 14 of the state's programs have been designated at risk and are under federal investigation. Bella, come on, lay down. What are you doing? You're making me look bad. I'm going to have to get the shocker out. Go get in your bed, Bella. What are you doing? Look at all this stuff that they're stealing from. This is the exact type of strong action we need from prosecutors, Governor Tim Walz said in a statement. He's been widely criticized for the fraud that occurred during his tenure, but it's asserted that nobody's angrier about it than him. Well, he should have did something about it. The state's also been cracking down on fraud over the fall into the winter. And it's been pausing enrollment for new providers, withholding state payments from some of the programs. Oh, yeah, the shocker again. Yeah. It's infuriating greed and criminal activity is why we took action earlier this year to shut down the housing stabilization services and hired an outside firm to audit the programs. We will not tolerate fraud, and we will continue to work with federal partners. What is going on with you? Are you okay? I just had you outside earlier. During a hearing on Wednesday, DFL members of the House they have a fraud prevention and state oversight policy committee questioned the chair about sharing fraud tips received through a tip hotline the Republican-led committee set up. You ever notice we never see Ogden and Oldenkamp at the same time? Oh, yeah. What do you mean? They're always here at the same time. It's the same person. No, it's not. They're two different people. We have not because there's no trust. You might understand. Robin said the fraud has been perpetrated on your watch, and the whistleblowers who reached out to us within the department are terrified, and they feel like they've been retaliated against already. Walt said in a separate statement on Thursday morning that Robbins withholding that information was outrageous. I expect political attacks in every election year. What is unacceptable is actively withholding information about fraud and blocking investigations in order to advance a political agenda. If there was fraud, it needs to be immediately investigated, not sat on, redirected, or used for political theater. Don't be cruel with the shocker, Jim. Just get some chains and a couple of pair of cuffs. Okay. Hey, here's the first 5 from Sunshine. English! Oh. Sorry. Sorry, I had my, that was bad. Thank you so much, Sunshine. With that, we are now $95 away from $95 a beer on the wall, 95 bottles of beer, 95 away from the second hour where I'll be here with 95. Thanks, Sunshine. Thank you. House Leader Rep. Zach Stevenson, a DFL from Coon Rapids, echoed Walz's statement. If Chair Robbins was actually interested in preventing fraud, she would be working with the very people who can stop payments to suspected criminals. This committee should be about solutions, not spectacle. Who's in charge? Who exactly is in charge? Oh, the demon rats are in charge. Who's stealing all the money? Oh, people that vote for the demon rats. You see the problem here. When asked about the lawmakers' tip line, Thompson said, first, I can't comment on that today. Whether he confirmed if he received tips from lawmakers, he said, we get tips from all sorts of sources. Of course, he's a DFL coon. That's what it says right there. Look, just so you know, I'm not being anything. Look, this is the guy's name. It says DFL coon. Why would it say DFL coon there? That is crazy. That would be what they would call him. I mean, talk about the racists in Minnesota. They're calling this guy the C word. That's the story. DOJ charges 6 more on growing Minnesota fraud scandal. U.S. Attorney announces new indictments in Minnesota fraud scandal. Okay, let's see here.
Stability, find and maintain stable housing. They did no such thing. Instead, they submitted fraudulent claims to Medicaid for services that they did not actually provide to those individual clients. In all, they obtained more than $750,000 in Medicaid payments through their fraud scheme, much of which they used for pretty extensive international travel, including to London, Sydney, Australia, Istanbul, Turkey, Dubai, and several locations in Saudi Arabia. The second case being announced today is United States versus Camille Omar Salah, the owner of Safe Lodgings, Inc., another housing stabilization services company. As with the other defendants, Mr. Salah enrolled in the housing stabilization program and began claiming to be providing housing stabilization services to people that were leaving drug and alcohol rehabilitation facilities. Again, he did no such thing. Instead, he just submitted fraudulent claims for services that he never provided. He submitted more than $1.4 million in fraudulent Medicaid claims, which he used to purchase more than $150,000 in cryptocurrency, as well as to fund his lifestyle. We learned recently that Mr. Salah actually fled the United States after his company received a grand jury subpoena for records related to its participation in the Housing Stabilization Services program. The fourth and fifth defendants are charged in United States versus Anthony Waddell Jefferson and Lester Brown. And this case is slightly different. This is an instance of what's essentially fraud tourism. Mr. Jefferson and Brown were residents of Philadelphia who had no connection to Minnesota, except for they heard that Minnesota and its Housing Stabilization Services program was easy money. And so they traveled to Minnesota, enrolled their companies, Chosen Runner LLC and Retzel Real Estate LLC, in the Housing Stabilization Services Medicaid program here in Minnesota. They then returned to Philadelphia and began submitting fraudulent claims to Minnesota Medicaid here, through which they obtained more than $3.5 million in fraudulent Medicaid payments. This fraud tourism is new, although we've heard of it as investigators here. I mean, these defendants came here not to enjoy our lakes, our beautiful summers, or our warm people. They came here because they knew and understood that Minnesota was a place where taxpayer money could be taken with little risk and few consequences. Fortunately, through the hard work of the agents, that we have been able to charge them for their role here. Now, to date, we have charged 13 people for their role in the scheme to defraud the Housing Stabilization Services program, and that investigation remains very much ongoing. We expect additional charges in the coming weeks and months. I also want to announce some updates in the fraud scheme, or the scheme to defraud the early Intensive Development and Behavior Intervention for Autism program, another Medicaid program here in the state of Minnesota. Today we unsealed charges against the second defendant charged in the case, Abdi Najib Hassan Youssef, who owns Star Autism Center in St. Cloud, Minnesota. Mr. Youssef, like others involved in the autism scheme, paid kickbacks to parents to have their children diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and enrolled to receive EIDBI services at his autism center. Based on these fraudulent claims for services that were not provided, and in many cases were not needed, he received more than $6 million in Medicaid funds. He used some of those proceeds to purchase a semi-truck for $100,000, and he also sent more than $200,000 to Kenya. Earlier this morning at 10:30, the first defendant charged in the autism fraud scheme, Asha Farah Hassan, pled guilty. As you may recall, Ms. Farah was the owner of Smart Therapy LLC, a Minneapolis-based autism clinic. Through her clinic, she participated in both a scheme to defraud the EIDBI program, as well as a scheme to fraudulently obtain federal child nutrition program funds under the sponsorship of Feeding Our Future. Through these fraud schemes, Ms. Hassan received more than $14 million in Medicaid payments and more than $450,000 in federal child nutrition program funds, of which she sent at least hundreds of thousands of dollars to Kenya, which were used to purchase real estate. Now this morning, that's the EIDBI program. This morning we also executed a search warrant related to investigation into another Medicaid program here in Minnesota, a state Medicaid program called Integrated Community Supports, or ICS. ICS was a program that started in 2021 here in the state of Minnesota. It was designed to help people with disabilities live more independently in the community with assistance, with one-on-one help with health issues, safety, and other health.
I don't know how long this video is, but it's going very long. Such a cute face. You can see her face better tonight. Bella's adventurous tonight. Yeah, I don't know what's up with her tonight. She's acting very strange. She never normally ever acts like this. And Marjorie comes in with a fiber. Thank you, Marjorie. With that, we are now 90 away, just 90 away from another additional hour of the show. Thank you so much. And then Richard says, I agree. Way better than looking at her behind. And then a whole state needs an enema. Maybe 47 can hire Lestad's pest control. Maybe. Hi, I've been busy. Well, everyone's busy. It's a busy time of year. It's the silly season, they like to call it. So,
whole task to allow them to live in the community as opposed to in an institution. Through this program, providers obtain apartments in which their ICS clients can live. In theory, the providers are supposed to be giving daily assistance to those clients to help them live independently in the community. That assistance can include community participation, helping them get out and about in the community, helping them with household management, setting up medical appointments, and issues with household safety and day-to-day safety. In reality, what the investigation has shown is that many ICS providers did no such thing. Instead, they simply obtained apartments or condos, which they rented to people who they got qualified to receive
spray
ICS
Sommelier
services,
repellent. Yes,
people with disabilities that would qualify them.
This is the U.S. attorney
receive
for
ICS
Minnesota.
services, and then just put them in there and started billing.
It says right there, Minnesota
The
U.S.
ICS
attorney.
program would allow providers to bill hundreds of dollars a day for each
I don't know his
ICS
name.
client that they had, often more than $100,000 or even $200,000 a year for each ICS client. But in reality, that's not what was happening. Now, this program, like the others, this ICS program saw a similar pattern of explosive growth in recent years. Since beginning in 2021, the first year that Minnesota offered Medicaid coverage for integrated community supports, has grown from $4.6 million in 2021 to more than $170 million in 2024. And as you can see, the 2025 numbers We're through September 30th, but they're on pace for nearly $180 million, despite the efforts to get a handle on the fraud in recent months here in Minnesota.
Oh, get the handle on the fraud. He must be a Coke guy. He's way too happy. Yeah. Old school comes in forever. Are we just going to sit idly by and let Jim blackmail us for more content? Hell yeah. Thank you so much for the 5. And with that, now we are just $85 away. Oh, wait, I didn't even have the goal. My bad. We were just 80. I didn't have the goal up. My bad. We're now $85 away. And how many minutes left on the goal? It looks like we are 14 minutes. 14 minutes. 14 minutes away. He's glad all those creeps got caught. I hope so. Maybe that's what he's happy about. Okay, I hope so. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
In all, since 2021, Medicaid has paid out more than $400 million to Minnesota providers of ICS support services. Now, this pattern you see on the board is very similar to ones you might be familiar with in these other investigations. You see that explosive, even exponential growth. The Housing Stabilization Services, which also started in 2021, has a similar pattern of growth. It just kept growing and growing and growing each year. And again, this program was estimated to cost $2.5 million a year. But the data from the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services show that it costs significantly more than that. And in fact, housing stabilization has cost more than $300 million since 2021. The EIDBI autism program has a similar pattern. It's cost the state more than $1 billion since starting in 2018, or it's cost Medicaid more than $1 billion, and has grown, as you can see, every year significantly larger. And of course, the original scheme that started all this was Feeding Our Future and the Federal Child Nutrition Program, and as you can see here, a similar pattern of explosive growth. I want to talk a little generally about the investigation and the scope. I know there's been a lot of questions recently about the scope of the fraud and the amount lost. The state in recent months has flagged 14 Medicaid programs as having significant fraud problems. For those 14 programs, which include the Housing Stabilization Services Program and the EIDBI Autism Program, the state's issued a payment suspension for 90 days. They've ordered a third-party audit of all providers in those programs, and they've even canceled the Housing Stabilization Services Program altogether. Now, these services, there are many more. PCA services, adult day services, non-emergency medical transportation. Now, we've been talking for some months about the fraud problem in Minnesota, and I've always believed that if you speak the truth in a plain-spoken way, people can handle it. Minnesotans and taxpayers deserve to know.
He seems really happy.
Fraud.
Everyone else doesn't
Fraud
seem
is
happy.
Not small. It isn't isolated. The magnitude cannot be overstated. What we see in Minnesota is not a handful of bad actors committing crimes. It's a staggering industrial-scale fraud. It's swamping Minnesota and calling into question everything we know about our state. I spoke in the fall about the iceberg I saw ahead. Something's fraud that's much larger than what's been visible to the public. When I said that, it wasn't hyperbole or rhetoric, it was a warning. And today I want to talk and I want to show here a sense of what that iceberg looks like, because I think people deserve to know what that is and how big this problem is, because we can't solve the problem until we grapple with the size of it. So the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services pulled the claims data for these 14 programs dating back to 2018. And those 14 programs in Minnesota have cost $18 billion since 2018, and more than $3.5 billion in 2024 alone.
He acted the same way about the assassin.
The magnitude of the problem. These are the 14 Medicaid programs, which is just a part of Medicaid, these waivered services that have been flagged as having issues with program integrity and fraud. Now, I'm sure everyone is wondering how much of this $18 billion was fraud. It's not the $1 million question. That's the $18 billion question.
I would think
the answer is far too much, and the task ahead of all of us is not only figuring out how much of that money was fraud, because we know a significant amount was, but figuring out how to put an end to the fraud in our state and get control of it. So let me end with this before I take questions. The magnitude of the fraud in Minnesota cannot be overstated. It's staggering amounts of money that have been lost. But it's not just about the money that's been stolen and wasted. This is a problem that's caused all of us to question what kind of state we live in. I think it's eroded our sense of collective statewide self-esteem and confidence. It's caused we have a state, as I've said before, that has long taken pride in having a strong economy, good schools, beautiful lakes, mini parks, and a sense of community spirit and civic mindedness. This fraud really calls into question all of that. And
I just want to announce, thank you, KPT, for the $10 on PayPal. With that, we are now $75 away from the second additional hour. Thank you, KPT, for the $10 on PayPal. I finally found you on PayPal to be able to add a message. Yay me, almost a boomer. Yeah. Yes, thank you, KPT.
I know that it's gone on. It's been allowed to go on far too long. And we need to do whatever we can to stop it in its tracks. Thank you.
Joe, could you give us a bare minimum of how much of that $18 billion you suspect will turn out to be fraud?
I think a significant portion.
Joe, could you talk about how much you have?
Well, he's like, I think a significant portion is going to be fraud.
What's the dollar amount of that?
Well, we prosecute people, not dollars. Feeding Our Future, Amy Bach, the head of Feeding Our Future, was convicted of carrying out a $240 to $250 million fraud scheme. Several other defendants that were charged in what we call collectively as the Feeding Our Future case were actually not under the sponsorship of Feeding Our Future. So the very first quote-unquote Feeding Our Future trial was actually a group of individuals.
Well, thank you, KPT. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping I'm doing a good job for you and giving you what you want.
They carried out a $49 million fraud, almost all of which was under the sponsorship of another entity. Similarly, a case called United States versus Haji Salad, which charged 7 or 8 defendants with carrying out a $25 million fraud scheme under the sponsorship of Partners in Nutrition. So you do the math, $250 million plus $50 million plus $25 million. That's well into the $300 millions just in the federal child nutrition program.
PayPal is your friend. Well, I appreciate it.
These
I really
other
do.
Programs here, housing stabilization, autism now between 6 and 14, that's $20 million that's charged in the autism program so far. Housing stabilization, I haven't done the math, but it's well over 10 that's charged now. And obviously that's just this team's efforts. There's other prosecutions going on that have been flagged for many people, evergreen recoveries.
All right, so following the money and a major result, the Minnesota U.S. Attorney announces charges in many fraud cases. Of course, this is information you can read up on our website, cbsnews.com. Those new indictments happening today in a widening Minnesota fraud scandal, this time involving 2 Philadelphia-based men accused of traveling to Minnesota after a friend told them the taxpayer-funded programs there presented, quote, a good opportunity
Hi, Jay Remy. Great to see you.
to make money.
The Justice Department released.
All right. All right. We got this, too. Check this out. He says, are you a white male who has experienced discrimination at work based on your race or sex? Are you a white male who's experienced discrimination because of your race or sex? You may have a claim to recover money under the federal civil rights laws. Contact the U.S. EEOC as soon as possible. The EEOC is committed to identifying, attacking, and eliminating all race and sex discrimination, including against white male employees and applicants. Oh, well, KPT, I really appreciate that. You appreciate the info Jim brings me and that he hand feeds Joe and the others too. I do. You know how they say don't feed the animals? I do. I feed the animals. I'm constantly feeding animals. No one can stay that freaking happy for that long unless you know. Unless you know.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Well, I'm not trying to, Joe. I'm sorry, Richard Parker. I'm not trying to bleed you dry. I don't want anyone to give anything that they can't afford to do that it's going to hurt them in any way, shape, or form. If it's money they need for other things, do not give it to me. That's all. I don't want anybody to put themselves in any situation where they, they think, oh crap, I shouldn't have gave Jim that $5 or $10 or $20 or whatever. That's really hurting. I don't want that. It would make me feel really bad if somebody was giving me money that they needed for something else. Yeah. Chatting the stream helps push this out. Adding comments after the stream ends also helps push it from us. So never stop chatting. That's right. The more chats, the more active the chat is, it helps the algorithm, helps push it out. People leaving comments help. Yeah, especially if you don't have any money to add because your chat adds money, it does. And Christmas with people that have big families is insanely bad on the wallet. I know. That was a joke, Jim. Relax. Well, I don't know if you're joking or not. I don't know how some people, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's a joke. I'm sure some people would, it's hard. It's hard. It's a hard time of year. A lot of money going out for presents and different things. If you got a big family, then you got the travel. People travel for the holidays. People, that's expensive. People have guests over. That's expensive. Sunshine, KPT, you guys always come back. You do and leave comments and do stuff. So let's hear what she has to say. The chair of the EEOC. Let's see.
I'm Andrea Lucas, chair of the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Are you a white male who's experienced discrimination at work based on your race or sex? You may have a claim to recover money under federal civil rights law.
Really?
Contact the EEOC as soon as possible. Time limits are typically strict for filing a claim. The EEOC is the federal agency charged with enforcing federal anti-discrimination law against businesses and other private sector employers. The EEOC is committed to identifying, attacking, and eliminating all forms of race and sex discrimination, including against white male applicants and employees. Check out eeoc.gov to learn more and read our one-page explainer about DEI-related discrimination.
Okay.
I'm Andrea Lucas, chair of the U.S.
Okay. That's Andrea Lucas. She's the chair of the EEOC. U.S. Workplace Rights Agency leader urges white men to report discrimination. Yes, Bella's on the move. She's very busy tonight, man. Very busy tonight. Cooking and baking is expensive, too. Yes, it is. It really is. I understand that, too. We come to just bring one gift to share each, and all the kids are adults, and no one needs useless crap. Needs dusting, yes. Yeah, I'm running on fumes. Had no work for 2 weeks. Got called in today and got $63 an hour for the call in, but won't get it till after Christmas. Well, Mr. K, I hope you still have a wonderful Christmas. Bella's on the move. I'm white. Can I get in? Wait, my mom says white. I'm calling. That's right. Call in. I'm sure, Joe. I'm sure they classified you as white on all the paperwork. Just saying. Bella's on the move again. She's on the move again. Bella's joining the diggers tonight. Yeah, she's all over the place. Look at her. Woman's also searching to hire lawyers and investigators. Yep. Yeah. Hey, Mr. K, hugs from Pat Hacker. Yeah, and please, if you haven't already, we've been going for 3 hours and 40 minutes. So if you haven't already, please hit the like button. And then if you notice when you subscribe to the channel, obviously subscribe if you haven't subscribed. That's great. We actually pushed over 1,780 subs today. So, we're closing in on 1,800, really fast. The ultimate goal is to get to 1 million, but, that's a long time away, but we'll see. But I mean, I would like to get to 10,000. That would be great. But anyway, my point is that if you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, talk in the chat, participate, and get to know the people in the chat. I'm trying to build a community, but not like that, not a cult or anything. Just like people that could talk and, talk things out. It's always nice to talk things out. She acts like she has a bellyache. I'm wondering if there's something wrong with her belly. I really am. My sixth grade science teacher that hit on me at 20 years old. What's your Mr. K? Woohoo. I've noticed there are new names in the chat. You'll be dead before then. I hope not. I hope I won't be dead before then. No, I mean, honestly, Richard, what happens is like you get spikes and stuff, and the more people that watch, the more people that comment, the more people that do things. Can we be in two cults at the same time? Well, sure. Mine's like an offshoot. You're Australian. Oh. You're really older than I don't know. So, but it'll grow. Like it'll happen. Like it'll. You guys will know what I've been told by people with much bigger channels than me is that one day it'll just go. You know what I mean? Like the person told me that they really think I got a good show, I got good content, I got a good voice, and I got good eye for stories, and that eventually it'll just pop and it'll go like boom, boom, boom. You'll just start putting on like 500, 600 a week, 1,000 a week, and it'll just go. So. There's only 105 likes so far. Have you hit the like? It's free. That's right. But also remember, when you subscribe, there's a little bell, a notification bell. Click that notification bell and say you want to be notified whenever I go live. And then you'll get a notification. You should, as long as YouTube isn't screwing around, you should get a notification 30 minutes before I go live telling you, hey, Jim's going to go live in 30 minutes. But I try to keep a regular schedule. That way it's easier for everybody, because someone else told me that it's also a great way to grow and stuff and to build an audience is have a schedule and keep the schedule. So that's what I've been trying to do. I did change from 10. It was 10 o'clock, but I did change to 9 o'clock during the week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be 9 o'clock, unless I'm on with Joe or something, or I don't stream on Thursday. And then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm going to try to hold 10 o'clock. That bell is BS. You get no notifications. Well, I don't know. I don't know what to do. So the head of the U.S. agency that enforces workplace discrimination and civil rights is urging white men to come forward if they've been discriminated against. And are you a white? Yeah. So the post urged eligible workers to reach out to agency as soon as possible. Well, like everybody Trump hired a blonde chick? Lucas's post was viewed millions of times, and she was shared about 2 hours after J.D. Vance posted an article saying he describes the evil of DEI and its consequences. Lucas responded to Vance by saying, absolutely right, and precisely because this widespread, systemic, unlawful discrimination primarily harmed white men. Elites didn't just turn a blind eye, they celebrated it. Absolutely unacceptable, unmoral, and unlawful. Hey, collusion. What's up? More identity politics bullshit. No, it's kind of, but there has been a lot of discrimination against white men in particular. Tulsi isn't blonde. What do you mean she's got that blonde streak in the front? Maybe YouTube hates me. They don't give me gifted membership, so maybe that's that. Maybe. The bell only seems to send a notification when the show gets posted. Just gotten home from the VFW. Feel free to restart the clock. That's all right. We're actually going to be ending the show here right now, actually. I was going to end the show and tell everybody to wish them a happy weekend and everything. And you got to personalize it to all to get the things. And let everybody know that I will see you Saturday night, 10 o'clock. And Saturday night, 10 o'clock. I want to thank everybody who was here. Please remember to hit hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And what do you mean stop? No, not yet. What? I have my bell set to all. Greg says peace. It's supposed to give you a warning 30 minutes before the start. Yeah, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Saturday night. I'll be back. And we will see you all then. All right. I gave it an extra 15 minutes. I mean, we've gone 3 hours and 45 minutes. It's supposed to be 3.5 hours. Have a good night, everybody. No, Bella needs a belly rub. Crap. Yeah, don't worry about it. Thanks, Bella and Jim. Later. I'll see you guys all tonight. Saturday night tonight. 10 o'clock. Good night. God bless.